It's a Wednesday morning in the break room. Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5 WCMF. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good, buddy.
What's going on, female buddy?
Doing good, buddy.
It is a raw,
Sucks.
nasty, gross-ass morning. I mean, it's better than what other places in the country are getting right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's like tornadoes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
yeah,
take the
yeah.
rain.
Midwest, yeah. Rainy. It's 47. That's as warm as it's going to get today. The temperature goes down, much like Tommy's mom. And we will... I know, that's what I said. We'll be in the 40s by dinner time.
All right.
So, or excuse me, yeah, like back down to the 30s, back up to the 40s. Okay. Anywho, everyone knows that things are getting more expensive.
Too much.
It sucks. I mean,
Everything's got up.
I'm with you, man. But a debate that went viral on social media yesterday, folks have decided there are certain things that no matter how expensive or overpriced they get, they are happy to pay for them.
They're in.
Because they're worth it.
Okay.
Top 10 things that are overpriced, but still totally worth it. Tommy, if I were to ask you something now that is ridiculously expensive, but you will still pay because to you need to have it, it would be what?
Coffee.
Okay.
Number one.
It's funny because your life has changed a little bit this morning.
Yes.
What happened?
My coffee maker crapped the bed this morning.
How long did you have that coffee maker for?
2 years, I think.
And you even said you get about 2 years out of your coffee maker before it goes.
They
usually.
crap out.
Yeah.
So I don't drink coffee. Is it normal for a coffee maker to get 2 years?
I thought you got longer than that out of most of them.
I use it like crazy.
Yeah.
But I use it all day.
You say you make four.
Yeah, I make 4 a day.
Just regular cups of coffee.
Yeah, sure.
So it's that weird that it would just only brew a pot of coffee and it would like.
Well, it's not a mixing cup at a time.
Oh, a cup, just a cup of coffee? That's weird.
Yeah. It makes Italian coffee.
Oh, a coffee?
Yeah.
What's Italian coffee?
Espresso.
He's the fancy stuff.
I gotta make my espresso and coffee.
It's regular coffee in Italy.
I make a cup of espresso. No, that's not true. They got a Dunkin' Donuts. They'll give you just regular coffee.
You know you can't get Dunkin' Donuts in Italy?
No kidding.
No.
I actually believe that. It's an American company.
Yeah.
Do they have a Dunkin'? Kimmy, Google it. Is there Dunkin' Donuts in Italy?
If they are, they're lonely.
Well, I don't know, man. Like, Taco Bell couldn't survive in Mexico.
True.
Right? It's Americanized. Okay.
Well, with the cheese and everything.
Yeah, well, there's no cheese in Mexico. You can't get a cheese.
There is a Dunkin' Donuts in Rome, it looks like.
Look at that.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
So next time you're over there,
All right.
write it down. Kimmy, expensive, but you're paying for it because it's worth it. Nothing? See, you seem like the kind of person who's like, nothing.
Well,
Was she so base?
the one thing I do have every day is there is one thing that I couldn't live without, and it's coffee. The other thing that I will spend on is like bedding, pillows, bedding. Like I will get, because I don't know, I have no problem buying more quality stuff. I don't save when it comes to like bedding.
Okay, so that was the second most popular answer.
Really?
Study. A quality
Yeah.
pillow, a quality sofa, a
Wow.
quality
Like I've
mattress.
realized like quality pillows matter.
That's an old lady statement
It
if I
is.
ever heard it. I need a quality pillow for my neck.
I do.
She's not wrong. I mean,
Got a carotid.
man, you get to a certain point in age.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be 30s. That's like
Why?
my age.
But I
when you
realized
need
I enjoy
orthopedic
it.
pillows at my age.
I didn't say orthopedic pillows. I just said nice, fluffy pillows.
No, but I mean, it's
None of the crappy stuff
when you're
anymore.
going down to the insert store.
Well, it's funny you bring
My
that up.
arches hurt.
The
I do have big arches.
big arches.
I do have very big arches in my feet.
The
I need the support.
The number one response for things that are overpriced but worth the money you have to pay are good, comfortable shoes.
Good, comfortable pair of shoes.
A sensible shoe.
Pair of shoe.
I want to take umbrage with that. Like, I have an issue with that, number one. Because there has been this wave, Kimmy, recently of people that are going to, like, foot specialty stores.
Yeah.
Like the Good Feet store.
Yeah, something like that. And there's like 1,000 of them,
Yeah.
right? And they walk out of the place with like $300 sneakers where like they put your foot on this thing.
Yeah, they
Oh,
just,
yeah,
like
they
they
monitor,
assess
yeah.
like where your pressure points are in your foot.
And
stuff
then-
like my husband actually just did this.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can find quality sneakers like that for under $100. To me, that's the biggest scam on the planet. These people that are spending $300 for like, what are they called? Like Hoka, or like the one that have like, they look like Legos on the bottom of them. You know,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
my
Yeah,
brother got a
it's-
pair of those, and I've been killing them ever
He got
since.
the on class.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
I actually would really like a pair of those.
Do you hear yourself right now?
If you put your foot in one of those, you're like, wow, I can't go back.
Okay. How much do those cost?
I don't know.
Could you Google?
They gotta be a
I
fortune.
think they're about the same as like Nikes or anything else. It's like 100 ish, but if you want like the really nice ones, it's probably more like 160.
Like if I see someone wearing a pair of those Hoka sneakers, you're familiar with those, right?
Hoka?
So they look like, I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Hoka.
Yeah. But they look
Okay.
like they're canoes. They look
Oh,
like
so they're ugly.
They're super ugly.
They're made for like working out specifically, not really so much like fashion.
But you see people wearing them around all the time, especially on the east side. When I see someone in a pair of those shoes, I immediately think you are a sucker. Sucker. You got suckered into Hoka.
But you think about it, man. If your feet go, you're screwed because how else you get? If you're in agony walking around, that blows.
Okay, you started this break with, oh, you're old now. Well, you know, if your feet
Well, I
start
can
to
say it. I am of that age,
You wear the
and I
least-
don't even wear orthopedic shoes.
Do you have inserts for your
No.
boots? No?
No.
boot inserts. Yeah, I am because I need inserts for my dress shoes.
Well, but I guess because like bigger people or heavier people probably have, or because of the weight, probably screws up their
Weight
arches and stuff.
distribution.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just always thought it was
Like
just
your
a-
old man, he's a big kid.
Yes.
And he
yes.
used to be a fat boy.
He puts a lot of wear and tear on
Yeah.
a pair of sneakers.
Somebody like me, probably not so much.
252 WCMF 252-9263. As we go through this thing that went viral yesterday, folks answered this question. They started ranking them by how often they got the responses. 10 things that are overpriced but are still totally worth it. So number 1 was shoes,
Right.
scamola. 2 was the quality mattress, pillow, and sofa. I guess I get that. As we move down to actual items, premium wireless noise-canceling headphones came in the top 10.
Jeez, I wouldn't even think that's a thing.
Depending on
Noise canceling?
It's
So that means like for people that fly a lot or something?
well, no,
just so you're in a loud space or I don't know.
I've got earbuds that have the noise canceling in them, and I use them when I eat lunch, and I couldn't live without them.
See, I don't know if I like that so much just because I kind of want to know somewhat of what's going on
When the
around
train's
me.
coming?
Well, see, but there's no train coming through where I eat lunch.
No, but
Well,
I
you
mean,
walk
like, what if
around.
somebody's like trying to get your attention, or you know what I mean? Like,
Honking a horn when you're walking across the street?
Again, I'm sitting down eating lunch. I'm not turning
Like, I
the
don't
noise
wanna be-
canceling on while I'm outside.
I don't want to be like so in my own world that I don't know what's happening around
Yeah,
me.
stay
Like,
home.
It's fine
There's
if
a
I'm.
noise canceling. You want to save money.
It's the original. When I was your age, we had noise canceling, but not leaving the house.
Like, I don't like that if I'm walking or running. I don't like
Yeah,
not
you're not-
having that sense around me.
You're not even supposed to use headphones when you're running or biking
Really?
outside. That's what
You're
they
not?
say. Well, yeah,
Oh,
no.
everybody
dangerous.
does, though.
Yeah, you're not. It's really dangerous because you can get hit by a car or something like that. But no, like I'm telling you, if I'm sitting somewhere and I'm by myself eating or trying to get some work done, those headphones go right in. You do not know peace until you have noise canceling headphones in public. I'm telling you, I agree with that. Spend whatever
But
you
you
have to
also
spend.
have to be eating alone. Like you do. You eat lunch alone. It would be. It's the only time you could use them.
You also ate lunch alone every
I know, but it's a
single-
pathetic look.
No,
Eating a lunch alone is a weird look.
I will use them like if my daughter has hockey practice
Oh, all right.
and I have to like work, I will put my noise canceling
So
headphones
what is it
in.
does? It's just like white noise?
It's like it's hard to explain.
It just blocks out the other sounds. I don't.
Right.
It's yeah.
silence.
Right.
And like I'll put them in without listening to anything, just so I can get the silence.
Oh, wow.
It's like earplugs, but it's masterful. It's wonderful because I'll even see people like at the corner of my eye sometimes trying to get my attention,
Yeah.
and I get to pretend like
I'm
I don't know
surprised
what
that
you're doing.
stops them from trying to get your attention.
Well, once you get close enough and see I have the headphone in, like they're like, oh.
Okay.
Another one that showed up here, and I think that most people in Rochester will agree with. Overpriced but worth it. A solid, warm winter
oh yeah,
coat.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's key.
Gotta have that.
Yeah.
How much are you willing to spend on a winter coat?
Well, how much are winter coats?
Okay,
I
so-
haven't bought one in a while.
Well, look, it runs the gamut. You can find adult winter coats for like $40, and there are people that have those fancy ass, high end
Yeah, like-
Canada Goose coats that go up to like $2,500,
Yeah.
$3,000.
You-
Folks that
there's
ski,
a
you'll spend
huge
thousands
range.
of dollars.
Okay, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a winter coat.
But that could be the last coat you ever buy.
Yeah, but they get dirty, they get grimy getting in and out of the car. I'm not going to spend $1,000 and get like salt all over it trying to get in my car.
Okay, but you're going to be warm.
I would say $100.
Okay.
$100 to $200 should be the maximum you spend on a winter coat.
Can you,
You
get?
could get a nice coat for $100.
Okay, now
Easily.
you sound like my grandma.
You
You
can.
can.
You can get a nice
$100
coat.
bucks?
$100 should get you a nice winter coat.
I'm not spending $300 on a winter coat.
I don't know where you could get a good winter coat for $100.
Oh,
Legit.
you could get a.
Burlington
do
Goat
you mean?
Factory.
They're
Yeah,
more than great coats.
there's a lot of places you could get
Yeah.
a coat for $100.
Let's put it this way. So, like,
Clothes are cheap for the most part.
clothes are cheap.
and
Coats are not.
especially if you're one of those people that does their winter shopping after winter's over and you hit all those sales, that's where you're going to get a nice winter coat for $100.
Yeah. Add a season.
Is anyone listening to what she's saying right now? Like, I agree with you. You're not wrong. But you sound
I
like
actually
such an
don't
old
even
woman.
do that, but I'm jealous of people that they'll find some really good deals
You
on
can.
winter stuff.
Why don't you go do it right now? Like that Dick's Outlet.
I mean, I don't need
Pittsburgh.
a winter coat right now. I'm good for a little while. Mine's not falling apart.
Yeah, buy on the dip.
We have tweets coming in. You can always get us at WCMF Break Room. Doug tweets at us. We were talking about the shoes, the scamola. He says, this coming from a guy who spends big money on sneakers he will never, ever wear. Okay, I admit I do that.
Yeah.
But, like, even the sneakers I buy don't come close to the price of these Hokas. And Doug seems like a Hoka guy. That's why Doug's upset.
No, your sneakers are way more expensive.
No, I've never spent $300 on a pair of sneakers in my life.
The Hokas are $300.
How much
Don't
are
you
they?
have?
I just looked. There's like 130.
Oh, that's a low. That's a busted Hoka.
No, those are regular Hokas.
Polka.
I don't know why you think they're so expensive.
Don't
I
you
mean,
have
they're your
Jordans?
standard running
Yeah.
shoe.
Aren't those like more than $100 or $200?
Well, I mean, like I got an eye for things, so I know I got a guy who's got a guy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not spending over like $180 on a pair of sneakers.
Which is a lot of money to spend on a pair of sneakers.
And that's rare. That's right. What do those boots cost?
These? Oh, cheap.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Probably $20-$30.
Yeah, my balls, $20-$30.
Plus the maintenance.
Cost you $20-$30 just to get them shine at the airport. Shine my shoes, sir. Shine them up. I mean, the bottom line is everybody has something in their life, and it's always different that I'm willing to spend the money on. It's funny. Quality pots and pans showed up in the top 10, too.
Okay, but that's not a man thing.
That is something. Now, my husband's big on quality pots and pans.
What happened to you and your
I
family?
don't know.
I'm
But
gonna argue
that's
for
what
shoes, for a quality coat.
That's what he wanted for
pillows.
Christmas.
You bought him pots and pans for Christmas.
He wanted this, like, I guess he uses this really nice pan when he works, and he wanted more. He wanted like a whole set of them.
Pots and pans could be a fortune.
Yeah, I know. I got some for my wife a couple years ago.
Because when I got divorced, like when I lived in Webster, I had like the grodiest crap. Like, I never used it because it just sat there. Like once in a while, I'd throw something on, but I can't imagine spending like $200 on a frying pan.
I mean, people do. People spend more than
I
that.
know,
on
but
a
I guess you
frying
got to be like into cooking.
I don't know if you do, man. I think a lot of it too is like the label chasing, where people want that
I
stuff.
wouldn't know outside of like the joint at the mall. What's a
William-
Williams Sonoma?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what else is a high-end pan.
Neither would I, but like, I mean, Kimmy can attest to this. Like all those ladies on TikTok and Pinterest and stuff, they talk about it.
Right.
Like it's funny. You'll walk into people's homes that have money, and they'll have those like pots and pans, or either hanging or sitting on the stove. And the only reason they're out
On
is
display.
So you can see that they have the high-end
Yes.
pots and pans.
Look how cool we are.
All right, we got a dynamite. Spend your money on whatever you want. Kind of
Yeah,
break 'em
enjoy
for
your
you
life.
here on CMF. It's Wednesday. You know what that means.
Today is hate day.
Yep, hate mail of the week coming at you just after 8 o'clock. There's a woman very upset with you.
Me?
Yes. Well, it's a move that you pulled looking out for one of our coworkers, at least so you said.
What I do.
2 weeks ago, Tommy was convinced that a woman we work with was having car issues.
Yeah.
And you wanted to tell her, hey, you need to get this taken care
Mm-hmm.
of. Problem was he didn't want to overstep his bounds.
Yeah, I didn't want to be that old guy.
Yeah.
And you did the right thing.
Fair
It was
enough.
a smart thing to do. However, this woman who writes us is upset because she listens to the show a lot, it seems.
Yeah.
And she says, and she's right, she's never heard you talk about cars ever, which leads her to believe you know nothing about cars.
Yeah, but even I've had to fix cars. So you learn a little bit when
have?
you have to have a car fixed.
Okay.
Like I didn't know nothing about a house till I bought one.
You still don't know nothing about a house because you don't own one.
I know how to fix one.
This woman seems to have experience under the hood.
Oh, okay.
Way more than you.
Oh, she's like a grease lady. Like a greasy woman.
And it bothers her, it seems, when men who know nothing about man things speak up only because they're a man. And we'll get into it just after 8 o'clock here in the break room on CMF, plus a whole bunch more. But first, Tom.
Yeah.
You know, hunting is very important for the ecological balance.
Oh, it's big time around here.
Right? Yeah. Well, it was big time. The last 30 years, we've seen dips in hunters in New York State. The state, credit to them, has been trying to fix that over the last couple of years, and they've come up with an even newer idea to ensure that folks with no experience that want to try this will have someone to go with them.
Okay.
It's a good idea in theory, but if there is not an age restriction on how this is going to work, you're setting yourself up for a terrible, terrible situation. And we'll get into it next here in the break room on 96.5 WCMF. They say the road to hell is paved with the best intentions.
Oh, yeah.
And the intentions in this situation are great. Trying to grow this activity and make things safer for folks who want to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
However, Tommy, there could be a massive flaw in this plan. Because maybe, just maybe, sending kids into the woods with strangers is going to backfire in some terrible ways.
Why? You got a gun. You're
hanging out in the break room. Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5 WCMF. Just after 6:45, there is a local kid done good.
Whoa.
Like national television good. Like in the running to have his name etched in the annals of history good.
What did this kid do?
Well, it's not. It's what he's done here. It's what he could also accomplish in a month or two.
Okay.
And it's pressure that no adult listening to this show could handle.
Really? But this kid's got it.
This kid's got it. 8th grade kid.
Eighth grade?
We'll tell you all about him.
It's a child.
Just after 6:45 here in the break room on CMF. So the state of New York is offering a new resource for folks that want to get into hunting. The DEC has established an online portal that will connect novice hunters with experienced hunters who will essentially take them under their wing.
Oh.
They're calling them mentored hunts. And the idea is
The guy goes out with me.
Yeah, you got it. The inexperienced hunters with little to no experience will be given additional firearm and hunting skills by these volunteers who just want to help grow the hobby.
The sport.
Yeah, exactly. Sport. Yes, thank you. And, the idea is great. It helps the new hunters become more confident and safe.
Sure.
It gives them a place to go with questions where normally they wouldn't want to. Because if there's one thing we've learned taking phone calls about hunting, it's that every hunter seems to have a different idea about things.
Yeah.
Right? Like having someone who has all of this experience and is maybe registered with the state is a really good idea.
Oh, absolutely.
In fact, it's a great idea in theory.
What's the problem?
Well, what they don't have as far as information on this website, the ages for the folks participating.
Like how young I could get into hunting?
Yeah, because Tommy, if this is a situation where you are sending some 25-year-old that wants to start hunting out into the woods with a 40-year-old that's been hunting since birth, this works great. Fantastic idea. But if that's a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid going out into the woods with a 40-year-old man, now we have some potential problems.
Possibly.
Before we start to get angry phone calls, and the phone number is 252-9263, 252-WCMF, I'm not here to suggest that hunters are more likely than any other group of people to do something like we're suggesting here. But the sad fact of the matter...
It does happen.
And we've seen it in every walk of life.
Every place there's men.
Yes. Teachers, coaches, scout leaders, religious folks, families, friends. There's no group of people that you can look at and be like, that would never happen here.
Yeah.
So the smart thing to do would be overly cautious.
Okay.
Which... if teenagers are allowed to participate in this program, and again, it doesn't say they're not, and if I'm wrong, 252-WCMF, feel free to call us, it seems like a really bad idea.
Yes. I mean, the kid does have a gun.
Okay, but...
what are you doing?
That makes it an even worse idea, because they both have guns.
Yes.
Both of them have guns.
But I wonder if they do this in other states.
It's a good question.
I would think it would happen between family members and people naturally when you're passing it down to somebody,
But not everybody has that. Like,
Right.
let's say there's a 14,
true.
15, 16-year-old kid who wants
Broken
to
home
hunt.
kid.
That's not what I meant. I mean, I guess broken home
Well, he
kid.
didn't have a daddy.
I can't hunt.
Fatherless child.
I can't hunt because I
Well,
don't
would
have a
it
daddy
just
as my
be-
favorite ribs Arkansas.
I
son.
can't hunt because I don't have a daddy, but I got a loaded shotgun. Don't touch me there.
Would it be more of is it a one-on-one thing though, or are you in a kind of a smaller group?
Sounds like one-on-one the way you described
Look,
it.
I'll be sincere with
Are
you.
you taking a few kids or?
I am naive to this.
Yeah.
I don't know. But even taking a few kids, that doesn't, I mean, there's strength in numbers, but there's not enough strength to guarantee something terrible wouldn't happen.
Yeah, because this has happened in places that had numbers
Yes.
of kids.
I mean, am I being
That's
too...
kind of how it happened.
Am I being too overly
I
cautious
wasn't
here?
thinking of that. I was just thinking of the dangers of,
Me too.
a
More
firearm
of
going off, not...
your standard dangers.
Right.
Well, so here's the thing. When it comes to dangers in that way, we've seen with recent activity from the state of New York that that's not something maybe you need to worry about. over the last couple of years, they started a pilot program where I believe they allowed 13 and 14-year-olds to go
I remember
out.
this. We talked about this, yeah.
And I think it was 13 and 14. It might have been 14 and 15.
Yeah.
To go out with older hunters and hunt for the first time legally. And they had no accidents and everything was super successful, right? That was a great idea. The danger isn't there because I would think a kid with someone who has experience isn't going to mess around.
Yeah.
It's the other way that just makes me a little bit
You're
nervous.
worried about
Yes,
pedophiles.
Yes, something happening terrible. I mean, let's be real, man. You would be sending, if this is how it would work, grown-ass men into the woods with teenage kids that they just met.
But that usually works out pretty well. Judged on everything I watch on Netflix.
There's no way the state would let this happen, right?
Well, it sounds like they are.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's like 18 and over. It's 18 and over. Okay, great, fantastic.
I'd be more worried that somebody that doesn't normally work with kids trying to teach something, frustration builds up because the kid's not listening. Kid's being a dick. You don't know how to handle it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be more worried about the basic interaction between a 15-year-old kid and a 40-something-year-old dude. Like, I don't know, like, how that conversation goes.
You bring up a great point. 252-WCMF, 252-9263. To the folks that have taken their kids, their grandkids out to learn how to hunt, family members.
Yeah.
Is it frustrating teaching these kids how to do it? Or are the kids so excited about being a part of this that they're ready to listen to everything you're
My
gonna say?
dad says, I don't have to listen to you.
Okay, if it's not your kid, it's going to be more difficult. Well, no, but then why is the kid out there?
I think a kid just turns into a kid after a while, though, don't they? Like, maybe it starts out with all that excitement, and then they just go full-on pain-in-the-ass kid.
I don't know, man. Wouldn't having a gun in your hand at that age make you a little more cautious? It would have for me.
Or a more confident dick.
I don't.
Like, I went to those summer camps where we shot shotguns, right?
Yeah.
And I got to shoot a 20-gauge shotgun, the skeet shooting and clay pigeons. I was a dick. It didn't change me. Yes.
With the gun?
Yeah, I was still a jackass.
I remember as a kid.
I was just a loaded jackass.
Just a lucky jackass.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being like 8, 9, 10 years old. I was in like Cub Scouts, right? And we would go to this like local camp where they would let us shoot bows and arrows.
Yeah.
And I was horrified that I was going to do something with that arrow that was going to hurt somebody. Like, I'd never listened more and paid more attention in my life.
Because you knew you had something dangerous.
Yes, I mean, yeah. I mean, you're aware of the danger of these things. You can't point me to a teenage kid that doesn't know.
I think that's most kids, but it only takes like one jerk.
I don't.
So true.
I don't think you're giving kids enough
I'm
credit.
going to go shoot stuff.
You think the kid's just going to randomly start firing the gun off in the air?
You never
Shoot at
know.
squirrels. I don't know.
Worked for Saddam.
252. No, it didn't actually. I don't know if you saw the end of that
That's how
story.
he used to celebrate his birthday.
And how's he celebrate his birthday now? 252 WCMF. We're talking about this new state resource for folks trying to get into hunting. It's an online portal that'll connect novice hunters with experienced hunters. And the idea of it is brilliant because hunting is something that's normally passed down through family members. And if you want to hunt, but you don't have a family member, you may have questions, you may be intimidated, not know whether or not you're doing the right thing going out into the woods.
Yeah.
This helps with that. What's weird about it is it doesn't say if there's an age maximum or minimum. So this could be a situation where you're sending 14, 15, 16-year-old kids out into the woods with guys that they don't know, and that seems like a problem, a major problem, based on, as I gesture, all of the last 100 years of things that we've seen.
But you know what they're going to say. Well, we checked them out. They don't have any criminal past.
Okay.
Which doesn't mean anything.
Because we've seen teachers that don't have any criminal past. We've seen coaches and youth group leaders and
People that have been doing this for 30 years of their life. And then they get caught.
252 WCMF. But again, I'm naive to this. I was looking for all the information I could find, and it didn't say anything about an age limit. Maybe Tim knows more. He's on CMF. Hey, Timmy, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, I just don't understand this state. Every 5 minutes, they're trying to take everybody's guns away, but now they want to teach little kids how to go out and hunt.
Well, I mean,
Pick a side here.
Well, no, I mean, I think there's a difference between walking down the street with a gun and going out in the woods to help control the population of animals that could smash into the front of your car.
None of the laws they have ever passed about guns are going to stop the illegal.
Well, but now we're
people
having a different
carrying them.
debate. I mean, the initial argument is the state is anti-gun, but I mean, they're trying to put guns in the hands of kids that have an interest in hunting. I mean, that's two separate arguments, Tim.
Well, it is, but it is and it isn't. I mean,
it is or
if
it
you don't
isn't.
have a-
It can't
if you
be
don't-
both
If you
things.
don't have a gun, you can't go hunting.
But that's just it. They're asking people to go. Your mic's off, Kimmy.
I guess they're trying to teach, people how to grow up doing it responsibly, I guess would be the motive.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but okay.
All right, bye, Ted. Seems pretty simple. Shoot at the deer.
I'm putting Tim down. He's out.
Tim's out?
Out.
He's out. Out. It sucks that we have to have this conversation because there is a need for folks that are willing to mentor young hunters.
Yeah, I think we've kind of burnt that bridge around here.
What do you mean?
As a country.
Mentoring?
Yes, because every time any institution, I can't think of an institution that handles kids that doesn't have a story.
No, you're right.
A national story.
You're right. And, over the last couple of years, we've seen the titans of these institutions being dragged down.
Yes.
Look, you have scouts that are having to sell campsites. You got churches that are
But
having
you can get really good real estate.
You bring that up, you actually can.
Pennies on the dollar, guys.
But here's the thing, man. There are people that legitimately want to mentor kids, and they're good people.
But the situation is screwed.
Does that mean we just go home and don't do it at all?
Kids, figure it out for yourself.
No, but you can't do
You're
that.
You're safer without us.
You can't do that because
maybe we are. Yeah.
Whatever it is, whether it's sports, whether it's hunting, whether it's the arts, it's safer and better when there's someone that wants to help that kid along.
Right. But it just takes one creepola.
252 WCMF. Let's talk to Kevin. Hey, Kevin. How are you, buddy?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good, man. What's up?
Just think the age usually is 16 in New York. There are guided hunts where you can go out younger with family and stuff like that. But
sure.
The other thing is too is a part of the responsibility I think kind of falls on the parent a little bit. These are probably going to be groups of people. There's going to be multiple guys there.
Okay, that's
They're
good.
going to probably have some of their family there. And the groups of kids are probably going to come in, like I said, groups. Your moms aren't dropping a kid off at a field off on the parkway and just burning rubber.
No, I get it. But, Kevin, I get it. I get that maybe I'm being overly cautious and nervous here. I understand that. But, Kevin, like Tommy said earlier, we've seen examples in the past of groups of kids with one or two guys and something terrible still happens. And it's just strange that having learned that lesson, hey, you know what, let's try this now and see what happens. But again, maybe there's a system put in place where they're going to do everything they can. Obviously, they're going to do everything they can to keep that from happening. Kevin, how old are you, bud?
Yeah, 41.
You got
I've been
any
hunting about 10, 12 years.
Okay,
no kids yet.
No kids yet, okay. Would you be interested in being a mentor for kids in this way?
I would, only because I've kind of done it with my buddy has a couple of kids that are around 12, 13, 14, and so they're just starting to get into hunting. We hunt actually in Pennsylvania as well, so the laws are a little bit, the age is a little bit lower.
Okay.
So that's something that we've done, and you find out real quick if the kids are into it or not. Early mornings out in the cold, in the woods, kids either are going to gravitate towards it, and just like you mentioned with, shooting arrows, they're going to lock in. And then you're going to find the dunces that, are just out there to have fun or don't really know what they're doing, or their parents are just trying to get them into something new. So you kind of figure out real quick. It's also scary for the adults too. You never know. You don't know these kids. And
well, stop calling them dunce. Kid's got a gun, man.
Let's be real.
Hey,
some of them boys and girls going out into the fields are maybe not the smartest bunch, but.
Hey, all you dunces over here.
Kevin, thanks.
Yeah, so absolutely. You guys have a good one.
All right, bye, Kevin.
Sensitive Kevin. Freaking dunce kid. Get out of here.
So
give me the gun first.
To build on Kevin's point, what if that kid that you think maybe shouldn't be out here with a gun decides, I'm really interested in this?
And you're already out there with it. What do you tell him?
Hey, kid, you're dunce. Get out of here.
I think it's a bad idea. I think you're absolutely right.
No, look, you have to grow this. You don't want to get to a point 40, 50 years from now where nobody's hunting. That's a bad situation.
But I always figure those people will find, those people that really want to hunt will be out there hunting.
Okay, look at my arm. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, so this is where it was in the 1970s. Okay, see where my hand's going? See it going? See it going? If these people here that are not hunting are having kids and they're not hunting, my dad hunted, right? He went out and he got deer and he fished and all that stuff. He never shared that with me.
Yeah.
I probably would have been interested in something like this had he taken me out when I was a kid. But because I never had that experience, now I won't be able to pass that on to my kids. So that's a generation of hunters that has disappeared.
I always figured, but there's got to be, parts of the country that this is like a bigger lifestyle.
We are in a part of the country where
Yeah.
this was a huge lifestyle.
But they're still hunting, aren't they? You're telling me it's down that much?
Yes. I mean, why do you think the state has been? I mean, the state is doing so many things to get people hunting and fishing again. Those free fishing weekends. We've talked about several other programs where they're trying to get people out into the woods.
Or here's what you do. You want to get hunting going again?
Yeah.
You know when they do that gun buyback program?
Sure.
Give those guns out to the kids to go hunt.
So you're semi-automatic deer hunting?
Bro, think of the deer he'll bring home.
He's not going to have any deer
10
left.
deer, 2 seconds.
You know, speaking of kids, there is a kid from our area who has done good.
So this kid's like amazing.
Well, like not only is he bright, because you have to be bright to be good at
Oh, he's a
this.
brainiac.
The fact that he is able to handle this pressure, Kimmy.
Yeah, because you can be a really, really smart kid and drop the ball because you just can't handle the spotlight.
Kimmy, you could be a really smart adult, be put in this situation, and it's over.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
We'll tell you what this kid has done and what he is on his way to do.
Damn.
Next here in the break room on CMF. It's pressure.
Yeah.
It's potential embarrassment. And even if you're good at this, which most people are not, all the eyes on you could freeze your ass up and make you look like an idiot.
Really?
But one kid from our area is going to try and make us all proud on national television, fighting to bring this household name title back to the Rock.
So the kid's got the skills, huh?
It seems like it. You're hanging out in the break room. Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5. WCMF, just after 7 o'clock this morning. This is a story where everyone that hears it will immediately blame the victim.
Oh.
And that's the problem with situations like this. Because despite the fact that you're going to go, what did he do?
You know he did something.
What did he do?
You know he did something.
Everybody
Yeah.
listening to this show has been in a situation in at least one relationship in their lives where they did nothing wrong, but it looked bad.
Okay.
And that's exactly what this could be. Because when you're in that situation, there is nothing you can say to make it any better.
How bad was he looking?
There's nothing that says he was looking at all.
Okay.
We'll get into the story just after 7 o'clock here in the break room on CMF. A massive congratulations to Ryan Creary.
What did Mr. Creary do?
He is an 8th grader inside the Penn Yan School District, and Ryan will be representing the Wayne Finger Lakes region in the Scripps National Spelling Bee next month.
Man, that's the big one.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it is.
So Ryan lasted 8 rounds in the regional spelling bee. He won by spelling the word facile correctly.
I didn't. What?
Facile. Tommy,
What's a facile?
can you spell facile?
I think it's spelled F-U.
Okay, well, why are you getting mad at me?
I
The
don't
kid
know.
was-
I didn't even know what a facile is.
Actually, I don't either. Kimmy,
Is
Is
that
that how you
animal?
say it? I don't even
I
know.
don't- Did you say the
That's how you
word?
pronounce it. Yes.
Okay, so you
Because
saw
I
it.
said it about 10 different ways. I was like, I wouldn't
how
even
else
know.
would you say it?
Facile?
F-A-C-I-L-E. I thought it was facile.
You could be right. I have no idea.
So-
don't know what it means.
So is he going to? He has to leave Penn Yan, I'm assuming, and go to
No,
like,
they're
New
bringing the
York?
spelling bee to him. No, it's in Baltimore.
Oh,
yes. The Scripps National Spelling Bee. He will be competing against 200 other of the best spellers in America for a chance at the Scripps Cup and,
Oh, this is the World Championship.
well, it's the American. It's the Scripps National
Yeah.
Spelling Bee. Holy crap.
So
$50,000 grand prize.
Eh.
when does he think he'll lose to the Indian kid? Because the Indian kid always wins it, man.
So if you've seen,
It's always the Indian kid.
there's a documentary called Spellbound,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about following like 10 kids. This was like 15, 20 years
Yeah.
ago
Yeah.
that went to this. And the work that some of these kids
It's
put
insane.
in.
It's nuts.
Like they study
Yeah.
spelling words with special tutors for like 15 hours a day.
And then Fareed gets up, and it's Sweepola.
So first off, good for the kid. This is super exciting.
Oh, sure.
And to get this kind of opportunity at that age, I'm almost jealous. But what?
It also has to be a nightmare.
Yeah, when
Why?
guys like you get a hold of this and start running their mouths.
No, but like people come up, hey, spell this. Like, you know what I mean? There's always going to
Is
be
that
that
what
dick.
people do? I've never thought to do that to somebody.
I can see my father doing that. Spell that. And my father wouldn't even know if you're spelling it right or not.
Well, that's the problem. You would also have to know how to spell
Yeah,
it.
They do it anyway, man. Or like that one complicated word that everybody knows how to spell. They spell that word.
Well, he probably knows how to spell it if he's a good speller.
No, but he probably gets sick of it.
Okay.
It's tough. You know, heavy is the head that wears the crown of the Scripps Howard Broadcasting.
So I remember, like, as a kid, like, you do this, like, with your class. You know what I mean?
I hated it, man.
And that alone brought me so much anxiety. I can't imagine doing this on, like, a stage in front of
I
people,
wouldn't even
your
spell.
parents, you know, like
would you do?
a
Start
region.
singing?
I was F it and I'd go sit down.
No, I mean, Kimmy, you're right. That's what makes this kid even more remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, past the point that he's a smart kid, the fact that he was able to handle the pressure on
A
him.
public humiliation.
Look, spelling in general is hard.
Right.
No one in this room is good at spelling.
Doing it in front of an audience has got to be brutal.
You got it. Like, think about this. And
The
I know
bright lights.
I know you're with me on this. Forget the bright lights. I am so bad at spelling. On a daily basis, I will spell a word so wrong that the spell check on my laptop doesn't even come close
Oh,
to the
yeah.
word I wanted to spell. We are too dumb for spell check. But not only can this kid spell, he can do it under pressure.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
And he's a Penn Yan kid.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, think about this, man. Standing up in a room in front of his peers, in front of other adults, then moving on to the regional with the best spellers in upstate New York.
Yeah.
Bunch of strangers watching him. And to nail that,
Yeah.
I could not deal with that kind of pressure. You could not deal with
Well, I
that kind
can't
of pressure.
spell no pressure.
I can't spell NOPRESSURE. No pressure.
Are you in your own age bracket, or are you with like kids of all different ages?
I think
for
it's
this?
8th grade and below.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always like
Gotcha.
smaller kids. They ain't like 18-year-olds.
Is that disappointing for you?
No, at 18 you should know how to
Bring out the
goddamn.
hot 18-year-old guys. I want to see them spell with their shirts off.
I'm not impressed that an 18-year-old could spell.
Why? I am. I'm still impressed. I'm
Really?
impressed at anybody that can spell,
I am
especially
jealous of
out
spellers.
loud.
Yeah.
Out loud spelling's the hardest.
It is. Say,
what you said. Out loud spells
he's
hardest.
right.
No, 'cause in my head spelling I can
Writing
I can
it
nail.
down is a little easier than trying to say it out loud.
252 WCMF 252-9263. We're talking about this kid. His name's Ryan Creary. He's an 8th grader out in Penn Yan. He will be representing the Wayne Finger Lakes region in the Scripps National Spelling Bee next month. He spelled the word, we believe it's facile, to lock up that victory. And he $50,000 grand prize up against 200 other of the best spellers in America. Like, think about this. We know that public speaking is a top 3 fear for people in America. Most folks can't confidently get up in front of a room full of people and speak on things they know about.
Yeah.
And he's not like performing in front of these
No,
people.
no, he's just standing there, arms at his side, spelling.
Yes, he's not running his mouth or trying to be funny. He actually has to use his brain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a little disappointing because I don't know why. I'm always drawn to watching at least a little bit of the spelling bee.
Watch it like live.
After that
I've
documentary,
watched it before, yeah.
I mean, I just see the kid that wins on the news.
If it's on, like, you kind of have to stop and watch.
it gets intense, man. They get the bell when you ding,
Yes.
you spell it wrong. And then, like, all of that kid's hopes and dreams and all the work they
the
put
poor
in,
kid.
and he's gone.
Did somebody host it?
I think they just let the kids
They
go.
have
Oh,
like
I
a
thought there was like
panel of
TV,
people.
like a regular show. Like,
Oh, yeah, no, they do, like, yes, there are commentators that whisper,
like,
the kids are just
they should get Steve Harvey.
You
I
know
would
what
watch
else?
Steve Harvey host a spelling bee.
Shut up.
You know what else sucks for these kids? Unless you win. If
What do
you
you do with it?
misspell a word that you feel like you knew or you just made a simple mistake, like that word is going to linger the rest of your life.
It's gonna go on your gravestone.
Whereas, like, if you're a
For
kid.
God's sakes, they're
okay,
12, man.
I know. If
Your
you're
gravestone?
It's gonna stick with you. She's right. It's gonna eat away at you forever.
like if you're a kid playing on a team and you miss the game-winning shot or something like that, like that sticks with you too. But like you have a team and you realize like, oh well, we could have done this differently and this differently. Like this is such an individual style sport. Like it's all on you and your brain.
Here's where I'm going to disagree with you there. Now, I understand the pressure. You're right. I would think in a situation like this for a kid like Ryan, granted, we've never met this kid before in our life. You're one of the top 200 spellers in America, and you and your family are going on this trip to Baltimore to be on national television.
Yeah, but you want to win.
I know you want to win.
And there's money on the line. Like, what other kids' sport is there $50,000 on
No
the line
kidding,
for?
Southern high school football, but that's a whole other discussion. No, I mean, I think just getting to the glitz and glamour of that is amazing and enough of an experience
It
for a
is,
kid.
and I think you see that through adults' eyes. But as an 8th grader, that's like your world.
Okay.
Right?
Once you see the bright lights of Baltimore, it's gonna change you, man.
Good morning, Baltimore. More Hairspray tunes later here in the break room at CMF. By the way, I have some words from last year's B.
Oh, they got to be brutal.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
I may not even know what the word means.
I don't know what any of these
You're probably
words
not
mean.
going to know what any of them mean.
Because I even tried to look up the definition and I couldn't find them. Okay, Kimmy. One word last year was fartrone. Can you spell the word fartrone?
I'm assuming it doesn't even start with an F.
Go for it.
PHARTRONE.
Okay. You nailed it.
Oh, okay.
A fartrone.
Fartrone. Kimmy, could you Google what a fartrone is
Okay.
or what fartrone means? Tommy,
Yeah.
can you spell the word quirkin?
Quirk.
Quirkin.
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 Is that the thing you do with your butt?
I don't know what
Quirkin.
you do on a Saturday.
Yeah, the girls like to quirk.
Okay, fartrone doesn't even come up in Google.
PHRTRONE. Definitely. PHARTRONE.
Yeah, it's
Hey.
not even.
Quirk. Does it begin with a Q?
That's not how the spelling bee works, you idiot. You don't get like a clue.
Well, help me out,
Can I
man.
get a lifeline on a spelling bee, please?
Does it begin with a Q?
I'm not going to tell you if it begins with a Q.
I'm out then.
Are you sure that's a word?
QUICKER.
Say that again.
QUI.
Okay.
Quirk. CK.
QUERKEN.
That mean I got it right?
No, it means you lose. The bell means you're out. It's devastating if you watch this thing live to watch the little
They
kids'
get dinged?
faces. Yeah, like There it is, right there.
Man, how humiliating for these kids. You gotta be doing some damage to some of these kids, man, that don't make the cut.
because that's like I mean, think about it. Like you said, they study for hours and hours
And then
and
they
hours.
get crushed with a goddamn bell, and now you could probably watch it on YouTube forever.
Yeah, every single one.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, man. The pressure of being on stage and losing in that way, because look, 199 of those kids are going to hear that bell. There's only one kid that's not going to hear the bell. I think that's less stress than what these kids have to look forward to in their future. And I'm not talking about Ryan here. I'm sure Ryan's
What are you talking about?
Well, like, I think people always assume that kids that are good at stuff like this are going to grow up to be massively successful. Yes. And that's the real pressure. Like, Kimmy, you remember the kid who won every spelling bee? Or remember those 24 tournaments back in the day in elementary
Game
school?
24, or even just they had, what were they called? Like Mad Minutes, where like you had to do as many math problems as you could in a minute.
And there were always 2 or 3 kids that were just brilliant at those
But
things.
they don't go anywhere with it.
Well, it's not that they don't go anywhere with it. I don't know whatever happened to those kids. Do you, Kimmy?
No. But as a kid, like, again, like, you don't know that that's the expectation for your life.
You don't think people start talking to you about how smart you are and how
You're
going
going
to
to be rich, you're going to have a big job, right? Make a lot of money.
Yeah, but I think every kid has big dreams at that age,
but let's say
right?
a kid's
I mean,
like a social introvert that just likes to study words. And he may not be running a Fortune 500 company, which you're kind of hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Because you're hoping as a parent that that skill is going to lead you to have a very successful career.
I would think.
A.k.a. money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think as a kid, you still think that that's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know as a kid if you if failing at that or being good at that, I mean, you don't know what's to come.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's the looking back on it. Because to Tommy's
I think
point,
that's
I guess
what I'm trying to say.
Kid.
Like, looking back on it, you may be disappointed, but in the moment as a kid, it's, you still think you have so much potential.
Well, this got really depressing really fast. Where you go, guys? Good luck, Ryan.
Because I could tell, like, let's say I was really good at spelling as a little kid. My old man would have, hey, Tommy, come in the room. Spell. Like, he would put me up like a dancing monkey to spell for his drunk ass buddies. Like, that would be my whole, like, well, that's how you get attention. Stand on a street corner, just start spelling words. I'd be homeless in 10 seconds.
There is a story we're going to tell you. And we do not victim blame here in the break room.
Oh, no.
But the second you guys hear this story, you don't even know what the story
no,
is.
I cleared my throat. I had,
the second you hear this story, everyone is going to assume the victim did something wrong. And I would like to point out before I read you the details, there is nothing that suggests that. And what's even stranger about how people are going to react, I think that everyone at some point in their romantic lives have been in a relationship where you did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You did nothing wrong.
What are you talking about, baby?
Yet, there are things that suggest you did. And when you are in that scenario, there is nothing you can do. And it's so bad, and you can see it coming now, that there are men and women who will delete things, do things dishonest, only because they know if this innocent thing were to surface, their relationship is toast.
Oh.
And we will get into this story.
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
Next, here at the break room on 96.5 WCMF. This story is a doozy, Tommy.
What happened?
Well, when you hear what this woman is accused of,
Oh, it's a chick.
everyone listening is going to jump right to victim blaming. And that's not fair.
Okay.
Because we have no idea why these allegations are even in the paper. This could be one of those no-win situations.
That happens, man.
Because even if nothing inappropriate happened, in this case, you'd have one hell of a time convincing people around you, and even maybe your partner,
Yeah.
that nothing actually happened.
All right.
You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5, WCMF, just after 7:25, 7:30. 5 days, Tommy.
Oh, boy. You can feel the excitement.
Until totality. Well, no, you bring up the excitement. Everyone wants to be a part of this thing.
Absolutely.
So
Everybody.
So much so that there is a lawsuit working its way from the prison system into the state courts
Oh.
for folks who say, I have a right to watch this just like everybody else.
Okay.
And we'll get to it just after 7:30 here in the break room on CMF. This story, Tommy, comes to us from Ontario County.
What happened?
A 52-year-old woman from Rochester has been arrested and charged with stalking. And the accusations, Tommy, get real scary real fast. Over several months, the 52-year-old woman is accused of sending a bunch of text messages to the victim and his wife.
Oh.
If that wasn't bad enough, the victim is also accused of the woman is also accused of emailing the victim's son several times.
Man, she wasn't messing.
And sending a letter to his home, which caused him to fear for the family's safety.
Yeah.
The 52-year-old woman was taken into custody Tuesday morning. She has an upcoming court date. So, despite the fact that we have no details as to why this woman was doing what she's accused of doing,
Yeah.
you hear this story and what I just told you, and you think, Tommy.
Well, there was some messing going on. She got jolted. Now she's pissed.
So you think this is a cheating situation?
It sounds like it to me, yeah. Based on my past experiences with this, to get that much passion out of it,
Okay.
yeah.
Side chick, fatal attraction.
Bunny in the pot.
And because of that, Tommy, in your head, maybe this guy deserves what this woman's accused of.
Well, he may have been messing where he should have been messing.
Okay. And again, you do this with no details.
No details, except I've met men
Okay.
of all walks of life.
Well, no, you haven't.
well.
I've met every type of man there is.
No, you've met men. You hang out with the scuds of the scuds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even the
based on-
good-
Scuds Fest, Scud Stock 99.
But even good men can go scud.
Oh, shut up.
Even good men could go scuzz.
Yes,
Put that on a t-shirt.
from the president of the United States on down, right? The smartest guy at Harvard. We've seen guys turn into guys real quick.
Okay.
Just because they wear a cap and gown don't make them any better than low-end man scuds.
So you're saying there's no nice guys? That doesn't exist.
I'm just saying scuds can attack any human being.
There is no proof of anything that you're saying.
Absolutely.
And the fact is, there are several reasons why, if this woman is guilty, she could be reaching out to this man and his family over and over again. This could have been a work-related situation. This woman could have some kind of weird infatuation. There could be something she thought was going on between them that wasn't really there. None of that is out of the question. And there are people listening right now who have been through situations just like that. You are being inappropriate and immature, immediately blaming the victim in this story with nothing to go on.
And by the way, I'm only blaming.
You were not listening to a thing
Yeah,
I just
I
said.
heard
You did not listen to a
every day.
thing I just said.
Jumping to conclusions, list all the facts, blah, 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 blah. I heard it all. But anytime I see these messing situations,
We
You don't know
if
this
we
was a
don't know if
messing
it's
situation.
thing.
or what appears to be
Okay.
a quite possible messing situation.
No, not quite possible. I guess it would be a possible, in your mind,
Messing
messing
situation. That's one word, by the way.
Messing
situation. I always blame the dude. I don't blame the chick.
You don't blame this woman what she's accused of.
No. I mean, listen, man. You started messing with in the wrong area of town, and
What
I'm
are you
gonna.
talking? You just think he's
Start
saying
messing
like
in the wrong area of town.
Kimmy,
You
he
did.
just thinks he's saying like cool slang now. He's trying to sound like cool guy.
But I I know how guys are,
Okay.
and he probably thought he could control the situation, and he messed with the wrong chick.
All right.
That happens a lot.
I'm going to talk to Kimmy now for a
Okay.
while, if you don't mind.
She doesn't know any scuzzy people outside of this room.
Okay. Again, we're talking about a 52-year-old woman from
Can't argue with
Rochester.
that.
I know scuzz by association.
Association. 52-year-old woman from Rochester arrested in Ontario County after police say she was stalking a man and his family. She's accused of sending several text messages to the victim and his wife. She's also accused of sending emails to the victim's son several times, sending a letter to their home. She was arrested on Tuesday, taken into custody, and we don't know why this happened. There are no details, but Tommy, and I know a lot of people listening immediately go to, this guy was messing around, and this woman, blah, 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 blah. Kim, you look like you had something to say.
No, I was just, and I guess Tommy hasn't seen this, but there was this show I was watching a couple years ago, and it was basically each episode was about like a different stalking case. And I was thinking in my head, it's going to be like your stereotypical, like, dude becomes obsessed with a woman, can't take no for an answer, goes nuts. Most of these cases were women stalking other people. And it wasn't like a love thing sometimes. Sometimes it was like they felt like they were wronged by a person. Like they would make up these situations in their head or take something to the extreme. And that gave me a whole new perspective on like stalking,
Kimmy,
especially when it came to women.
Kimmy, that doesn't make sense because I just heard in the hard-hitting, newsworthy break room, the dude's messing. He's a mess. He was messing in the wrong part of town.
Yeah, because, he's probably thinking, eating ain't cheating. I'm cool.
Oh, my
and
God.
What?
Oh, my God.
You can say that, can't you?
No, you can. That comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know.
But guys have in their head they're not cheating because they're doing X, but they're not tasting Y.
Okay, this is a nightmare scenario.
Just ignored everything I said, by the way.
He's not listening to a thing. He
I
just
am
wants to keep, no,
listening.
you're not. You stop talking.
But I blame men.
This is a nightmare scenario, not being in this room with Tommy, but this situation for two big reasons. One, this man has to legitimately worry about the people he cares about and has to keep the most safe.
Yes.
Because if this woman is guilty, she knows your wife's phone number. She has your address. She is reaching out to your kid.
Yeah.
When it's not just you involved anymore, you can't sit around and see how far she's willing to go. You have to act on it, which creates an even bigger problem. Even if there is nothing inappropriate going on in this situation, no one is going to believe you. The folks outside who see this story will automatically assume you're stepping out.
The dynamic of it all.
Yep, they may reach out to members of your family to want to talk about it. It'll be embarrassing for you, your wife, your child. And by the way, that's the best case scenario because even the people you care about the most, the folks who you're trying to protect, may also be convinced something shady happened. And it's one of, if not the most frustrating things that you will ever go through in a relationship. You didn't do anything wrong, yet something looks really bad.
But that I did nothing wrong.
I did nothing.
And the more you
Doesn't
deny it, the
normally-
more guilty you look.
Yes.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound natural. Like, I did nothing.
No, that's
Well,
why
but,
it's so
but
frustrating.
you feel like you have to prove your innocence, and by doing so, sometimes you go overboard
worse.
because you really want people to know. No, I swear I'm telling the truth, but I don't know how to prove it.
Like, it's funny. You see this stuff all the time on Facebook, like from some women that have been cheated on. Like, if he denies it, that means he's cheating even more. That doesn't make any sense. I didn't do anything. Look me in the face.
But that's men's defense every time they get caught, right? I had never even met this
So
woman.
how do you-
This,
so
this
how do
never
you-
happened.
And that's why it's so frustrating. Look me in the face. Because I think every single person listening, both men and women, have been in a relationship at some point in their life where they have found themselves in this situation. Have you been in a spot where you did nothing wrong with a woman, but something made it look like you did?
I'm pretty sure every time I got in that situation, I did something.
Okay.
man.
Well, even
But I'm being
so let's
honest
say
with you,
did
man. I
something
know how I
wrong.
am.
Let's say you did something wrong up front, and then obviously after that, somebody's going to be looking for you to do something wrong. So like, there was never a point where you actually didn't, and they were accusing you because of your past.
I mean, maybe, but I always do. Like, I'm sure I said something or acted in a certain way, trying to be funny.
Nope, guys, I'm scuzz.
And the guy, because you never know how somebody's taking what you're saying.
Okay, but there's a
Like-
difference between taking what you're saying and eating ain't cheating. You understand that? No, there is a massive difference. There is a Grand Canyon-sized
All right,
difference.
here's eating ain't cheating over here.
Yeah.
And there's just I didn't. Maybe you misconstrued my words.
Yes.
But I don't know how that person reacts to that.
But that doesn't mean I did something wrong. I can't control how you interpret what comes out of my mouth.
Okay, but you may not realize what you're doing looks like. Can that be a fair statement? Like how you talk to women,
Okay.
and how you present yourself to women. you may think you look appropriate or you're not sending out signals to somebody, but you are.
Signals. Shut
Wait.
up.
Because a crazy woman's like a shark. Man, they just pick up on those signals. They hear distress, and they start moving in.
You realize...
Because they can't see
But
very
you just
far.
said you didn't. There's never a point where you didn't do something wrong.
But I don't know.
It's just the signals. I don't know.
And I'm not even talking about things that are interpreted the wrong way. I'm talking about getting a text message that you did not expect, something on Facebook. Someone saw you somewhere with someone else and they interpreted it a certain way. You are totally innocent, but that's not what it looks like. And you can give facts and plead and try and talk to your partner's sensibility, but no matter what you do, they will always believe you are doing something wrong. And just to prove my point, as we talk about this 52-year-old woman from Rochester arrested for stalking in Ontario County, texting this man, texting his wife, according to police, sending an email to this man's son and a letter to their home. Your wife is a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
And I'm sure she gets the attention of men all the time, right? Let's say some weirdo gets a hold of your wife's phone number, then yours, and he starts sending emails, then reaches out to her kids to the point where they get scared. Now, your wife did nothing wrong here,
Yeah.
and she's insisting she did nothing wrong. Look me in the face.
Yes.
Could you say for sure you would 100% believe that a man that was texting her and you and sending emails and letters and reaching out to her kids, she did nothing wrong?
Yes.
Go
It's
home.
completely different with men and
No,
women.
it's not. Go home.
It is to me.
You cannot tell me
Because
there
women
would
aren't
not.
scuzzy. They don't tell you dirty jokes or say you look fine today and all that. Men just put out such a creepy vibe in general,
You
man.
are so full of
But
crap.
that's beyond creep.
Yes, this is. You're
I
going to
know,
tell
and
me.
some men go beyond creep.
Oh my God. There wouldn't be any doubt in the back of your head. You're so stupidly arrogant. Your wife should cheat on you, with all due respect. Like, nobody listening to this show, if your wife cheated on you, be like, oh, why? How could she ruin that? What? A man who has no money, it looks like he got kicked in the face on a daily basis.
In this room, yes.
Kimmy,
Yeah.
same scenario. Your husband, a woman, fine young thing, loves firefighters, gets a hold of his number, your address, emails coming. He did nothing wrong. He insists. Could you for sure sit here and say in the back of your mind there wouldn't be some doubt?
Oh, there definitely be doubt for sure, because you just wonder like why you so passionate about this. Like it'd be hard to wrap your head around why somebody would be this obsessed without anything behind it.
But it happens.
Yes, I understand, but it would
You would think
plant
there's a
that
possibility that your husband would cheat on you. Possibly.
Not even
With this-
cheat, but I would wonder, like, how did you connect with this woman? Like, where did she come from? Why does she think this? You know what I mean?
After all you do for that family.
What?
Wasn't it yesterday she wouldn't even touch her husband's feet?
Said they were gross and
Yeah,
she
he's
wanted
gay.
them to be
Like
taken care of by a
touching you.
professional. Yeah.
Go get a pedicure.
The fear of being accused of something like this is so powerful that it will cause folks that did nothing wrong to actually do shady things. For example, how many times have we heard stories of people deleting Facebook messages or direct messages from exes or members of the opposite sex from their past that reach out to see just how they're doing? And before they open them or their spouse can see them, bloop, delete.
Yeah.
Don't answer. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't respond. But that message gets put in the trash and you never tell your partner. Why?
Because you don't want to deal with the jealousy,
Huh.
the false echo.
Oh, that's weird. What's a false echo? Because I just heard in the break room, oh, man, excuse, you're all doing bad things. If you didn't have anything to hide.
There's such a thing as a scuzzy false echo.
What does that even mean?
It comes from a scuzzy place, but it means nothing.
It sounds like something that happened with the Russians in World War II. We have a scuzzy false echo. Boop, boop. Look, I mean, even if you bring up the fact that you deleted a message from an ex without telling your wife, that could have you staring down the accusation barrel. Because in your world, Tommy, and in the world that, we're presenting here, you should be honest. You should be honest and tell her, this person emailed me and there's nothing going on
Hey,
here.
a straight
And-
shooter. I'm an
Yeah.
open book.
Yeah, and that would immediately put you in a space where you're being accused of doing something wrong.
Right.
So what are you to do? What are you to do?
Well, it sounds like you're screwed. You
No,
can't do
that's-
anything. It sounds like you can't do anything because either way, if your wife thinks you're that person or has a inkling of suspicion, you're probably doomed. Because to your point, I can't prove I didn't do anything. That's impossible. Impossible.
Every single spouse in the right situation will have an inkling that maybe you did something. That's a solid,
Right.
rock solid fact,
Right.
right? People are insecure.
Yeah.
Right? But when you love somebody, you don't want to lose that person. You know, they say there's a thin line between love and hate. And when that idea that this person could step out on me shows up in your head, it can make you do all kinds of things, make you
Right.
see things that aren't actually there. Baby,
Then what do you do? What do you do?
that's my point, is for me to tell you these accusations and for you to immediately jump to,
A lot of passion in that one, though.
okay.
I mean, just because of the layers that person went through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she didn't just end it with the wife. She started going after the kids. And then a handwritten letter.
Sure. And
That's a lot of
by
passion.
the way, it doesn't say handwritten. You made up.
Well, you said there was a letter delivered.
letter. I said letter delivered. Didn't say handwritten.
Like a mail.
Like a mail.
That'd be written.
No, you could type up a letter and send it.
Well, you know what I mean, though.
You've got her in like a white powdered wig with a quill. Dearest sir.
She probably puts on costumes.
Okay, that's a whole other road to go down.
All right, let's take a break.
All right.
5 days.
Ooh, boy.
So you got two ways to look at this, right? 5 days until we get to see this wonderful celestial event, or if you're someone that hates the eclipse, 5 days till this is all finally over.
Yeah.
But I mean, with people now starting to arrive into town, you know, all of the big events are organized, tickets
Rolling
are
in,
sold.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
everyone's all excited, right? It seems that everybody at least wants to watch what is going to happen. So much so that there is now a lawsuit that has to get settled within the next 5 days
Oh.
to see what's going to happen with folks behind bars in the state of New York. And we'll get into it next here in the break room on 96.5 WCMF. Everyone, it seems, wants the opportunity to take part in this eclipse on
Oh,
Monday.
yeah.
Even folks who have lost their freedom. Because after an order keeping these people from having the opportunity to take this in, the state of New York is now facing a lawsuit
Really?
with what's going to happen inside their state prisons come Monday. You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5, WCMF. Just after 7:45, there are some NFL players that are finding out they're getting big bonuses based on how much playing time they had this season.
Oh.
In fact, a couple of Bills were way high on that list. They overperformed their contract, Tommy.
Damn.
But it turns out one of the most famous names in the NFL is also getting the smallest bonus possible.
Oh, really?
He played 4 snaps, and he's still getting cut a check. And
But
what's
he is
that?
getting some money.
Where do you hear how much money this guy is? Did you see the story yesterday?
I just saw it about an hour ago.
We'll get into it just after 7:45 here in the break room on CMF. There are some people, Tommy, who are going to be, it turns out, shut out of watching this eclipse on Monday. The New York State Corrections Department decided a couple of weeks ago that they will be locking down state penitentiaries when the eclipse is going on.
Well, every night's lights out, isn't it?
So that means no one will be allowed outside or anywhere they wouldn't normally be when the eclipse happens. Now, the state did say they will be issuing eclipse safety glasses to staff and inmates so they can view the eclipse from either their work locations or their housing units, but that's as far as
But they're
the
not
state.
going out in the yard.
Yeah, you are not allowed to go out in the yard. If you are scheduled for yard time between 2:30 and 4:30, which according to the article is when a lot of yard time happens, that will not be happening. Everyone is staying inside the prisons.
But what if you reserve the pickle court?
Do they have pickleball in prison?
I hope not. Well, actually, they do, kind of.
The state,
Yeah.
after making this decision, is now facing a lawsuit from several different inmates. And a lot of those inmates of all different faiths are making a religious argument as to why they should get to see
So
it.
this is a religious thing for them.
Well, they're making the argument, and it's a bunch of different religions. For example, one man says an eclipse event happened during the crucifixion of Christ, so he should be able to take this in for
did?
religious reasons. It's in the book.
Oh.
Islamic works apparently describe the same thing happening when Muhammad's son died. So a man who
Right,
follows
so
that
this
faith.
guy, yeah.
And then there's a man who practices Santeria who is arguing this eclipse has
All right,
significance.
that's
to
a
him.
religion I have not heard of.
The only reference I have to Santeria is the guy from Sublime. Don't practice Santeria. That's all I know. But it's not just religious folks getting in on the lawsuit either, Tom. A man who describes himself as an atheist says he was given special permission where he's locked up to view the eclipse with glasses provided by the state, and that permission was given before the lockdown was enacted statewide. And he's arguing, well, you already told me I could do it, so I should get to watch it.
Okay.
So the Corrections Department says that they are taking all requests for religious exemptions for the eclipse under consideration, and those requests are currently under review. Locked up, no eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you let the folks behind bars go out in the yard and take this in?
It's going to be dark, man.
Yeah, what's your problem?
They're going to split.
Okay, what?
There's a reason why there's no nighttime yard activities. They're all daytime where I can keep the gun on your ass.
So it's interesting you bring that up. And the phone number is 252-WCMF, 252-9263. In the story, the state does not give a reason why they are locking down the state prisons. Now, they say there won't be visitors allowed while it's happening. We told you about the recreation time, but they don't give the reason why. And I'm with you. It has to be a safety thing,
Yes.
right?
I thought they said it was a safety thing.
would
I
have
didn't
to
see
be.
that in the
yeah,
story.
based on like just the logistics of everything.
I mean, you're standing out in the yard. It's going to go dark. God knows what could happen.
Well,
in that
everybody's
period
at the
of
same
time.
place, same time. I don't
So,
know.
well, are they more worried about people escaping, or are they worried about violence?
Yeah.
Violence, passing drugs. That happens.
All the prison stuff that I've seen in movies.
Yes, all of it. It could be Brubaker all over again.
I don't know what that is.
Really good prison flick.
Thank you.
Robert Redford's the inside screw.
Kimmy doesn't know who Robert Redford is.
I do too.
What else was he in?
I just know he's an actor. And
Okay, all right, I'll give you that.
I mean, you're right. There wouldn't be another time where prisoners would be outside in complete darkness.
Right.
They-
Yeah, and if God forbid anything happens, man, they're going to look like idiots for
you're-
letting them out.
You're right. You're absolutely
And
right.
they don't need to see it, man.
Well, look, man.
You're
I'm-
grown ass criminals. Like, you really care about the eclipse. It's such jive.
Who am I to sit here and say for a
it
religious
is a
reason?
once
Like,
in a lifetime thing. I don't
wait,
know.
so you're pro prisoners outside?
I'm not, but I understand why you'd want to.
You
see
think
it
a
as an
hardened
adult.
convict cares about the eclipse?
I don't know. I guess it's more of a fear of missing out thing.
Violent people.
No, to be fair. Now, look, in the defense.
And some good people on both sides.
Well, only one half of people in state prisons statistically nationwide are violent criminals.
And guess what? And none of them did it. That's 100%. Everybody's innocent.
No, look, man, I never even considered this being an option. I assumed that everyone was going to stay inside in the prisons, but...
What if I'm standing next to, like, Chuck the Cannibal?
Chuck the Cannibal.
Hey, Chuck's got my foot. Turn the lights on.
Man, wait, he can eat you in 3 minutes?
Yes.
You should send him to Coney
Beat
Island
your
for that
mom's
hot
record.
dog contest, you dick.
I mean, you know who this really sucks for? The people working there that day, because they're not going to be able to see it either.
No, not true. It says the state will provide glasses for folks that are working there for them to look out the window and watch
Okay,
it.
I
Maybe
guess that's if you
a
have
bad
a view.
idea, too. Maybe you should be staring out the windows as the convicts are ripping the place apart. Maybe pass on the eclipse completely.
Well, but I mean, if everyone's locked down, what are they going to do?
I don't know. Things happen inside the walls, too,
Okay,
man.
but you know nothing about being inside prison. I know we have a lot of folks.
I know it's not good.
I know we have a lot of folks that have worked inside
Yeah.
prisons that listen to this show. The phone number is 252-WCMF, 252-9263. Is this a bad situation waiting to happen, even looking out the window and watching
When you're
this
supposed to be watching the prisoners.
while everyone is locked down? 252-WCMF, 252-9263. The state prison system here in New York facing a lawsuit from inmates who want the ability to watch the eclipse from the yard come Monday. They issued a statewide lockdown, no visitors in, no yard time from 2:30 to 4:30 while the eclipse is happening. Now, a couple of inmates are suing, some on religious reasons. One guy's like, yo, I said I could watch it, so you got to let me watch it. Let's talk to Austin. Hey, Austin, what's up, buddy?
What up, Duffy?
Yeah.
So I agree with Tommy 100% of the way.
How so?
Well, one, it's going to be dangerous. Like, nighttime, I don't know if most yards have floodlights out there, but even those can only do so much.
Well, if you have a floodlight, you're gonna have light pollution, and you're gonna ruin the eclipse. So you can't do
Yeah.
that, Austin.
Okay, so this is why I agree with Tommy. It's just not going to work out.
Okay. How much time have you spent in prison?
0, thank
Zero.
God.
All right, so combined, the two men with this hot take have spent 0 minutes in prison.
What side do you lean on, Duffy?
Well, no, look, I never even thought of this as a possibility. I'll be honest with you. I find the story funny, but
Right.
I can't sit here with no experience and be like, it's definitely going to be an issue because I've never worked in nor have been in a prison, so I don't know.
But you get the basics of it, right?
You have never
Bad
been.
person, you
I don't
stay
know if we
here.
do.
Bad person. There are addicts, and there are addicts bad people, Tommy?
I don't know that.
Low-level criminals.
What's
like, what about low-level criminals? Like money fraud, tax laundering.
Okay, so, all right, Austin, let me ask you this. What's the highest level crime you are okay with them going out into the yard and watching the eclipse?
Attempted murder.
Attempted? That's a violent crime, Austin!
No, but he attempted it.
No, but it's still a violent
But
crime.
you just weren't good at it.
Right. Sloppy murder.
Okay.
Austin, great call, buddy. Thank you. Have a good
Sloppy
rest of the
almost murder.
day. All right, why don't we talk to
That's a high bar. Yeah.
why don't we talk to someone who has experience
Okay,
with this,
all right.
right?
An actual convict?
Yes. No, I don't know. I don't know what her background is. Ashley's on CMF. Hey, Ash, what's going on?
Hi, I used to work for the Department of Corrections. I worked there for about 6 years, and all of the cells have windows, so I think they could just watch it from their cells.
Yeah, so that's the argument the state is making. Now, Ashley, when you say you worked for the DEC or DOC, were you inside the prisons?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in all sincerity, based on the experience you've had with the men and women that worked inside, do you see a safety issue letting everyone out in the yard when it's pitch dark outside?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I know you guys were grinding Tommy up for saying that people would pass drugs, but that's absolutely what would happen.
Okay, no, I'm grinding him up because he has no experience. Ashley, I value your opinion because you've been inside prison before.
Yeah, it's a safety issue. I mean, when it's dark out, all sorts of shenanigans happen. They'll be passing drugs. They'll be hitting each other or worse. So
Quit
it's
it.
really not
Quit
safe.
it. Quit hitting yourself.
It's really not safe for everybody to be out. But that being said, the staff could probably, not all of them, but some of the staff could watch the eclipse, and I think that would be safe.
Okay, so
All
you're
right.
fine. All right, so Tommy was wrong.
Partially wrong.
Don't look out the window. Everybody look at Steve the cannibal. He might eat someone really fast. Ashley,
Well,
thank
you
you.
gotta,
Oh, sorry,
you
go
gotta
ahead.
think there's lots of staff members that aren't corrections officers in the prison.
Well, like
So
people like
people-
clerical people.
Yeah, clerical people.
Could you sound
medical
more
people.
demeaning when you say, "Oh, like the clerical folk, not tough enough to be a prison guard"? Are you?
Yeah, paper pushers.
Okay, Ashley, do you mind if I ask what you did inside?
I'm a social worker, so
Okay.
I was in charge of reentry planning. So working with people that were getting ready to leave and
You know-
making sure they had everything set up.
You know why she's arguing for the staff to watch it?
Mm.
Because she wouldn't want to miss it. Guys, come on.
Yeah.
I don't have to watch anybody right now. It's cool. I'm Ashley. I'm just going to look out the window.
Yes, exactly.
Ashley, thank you for the call. I really appreciate it.
But I am guessing too, like if they said, well, if you could sit in your cell and look out the window, I'm guessing them cell windows aren't all that spacious, so you might get into fights for people wanting FaceTime at the window. I'm not pitching some like bay window with a sun
and it
box.
would
You could
also-
sit over, you could all curl up and watch it with throw pillows.
Would also have to face the right way. Like you could be on the wrong side of the building for that.
It would really suck if you work at a place or have like
Hey,
you're the
give me the
opposite
play-by-play.
side.
And
Way
most of
over
those
there.
most of those cells face like into the yard. They don't see out, they
Again.
see in.
Again, what are you?
It isn't like you got like, oh, I could see freedom right over there.
Bro, there's
They
plenty
face
of
all
windows
different
that face
directions.
out.
What
The
are you talking
the
about?
cells face in.
my
The-
God. Oh, my
the
God.
cells do not. Think about it. If I'm sitting in a cell,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're not going to show me freedom and how the lights work and everything
Yeah,
else
but
that's
we
going
don't
on out
know
there.
where it's taking place in
No,
the
but
sky.
you can't. But the cell, there's not going to be very little sunlight in the yard.
Okay.
Because it's big walls and stuff.
You drive by the jail.
towers.
You drive
Yeah,
by
the
the
one
jail
right there,
every
yeah.
day, right?
Yeah.
There's windows that face
Yeah.
out. Those have inmates.
I'm
in
talking
them.
like prison
They
style.
also you can't
That's
build a prison
city.
without windows that
Bro,
face out,
that's-
you idiot. It's not, and you can't engineer a prison that way.
Yes, you do.
You're not an
You do.
architect. Okay, 252 WCMF. 252
No
263.
sun in prison windows.
None.
Again, we're talking about several inmates that are suing the state of New York after a lockdown mandate went into place for all prisons from 2:30 to 4:30 on Monday. They're not going to let anyone out in the yard to watch the eclipse. There are several men making religious arguments as to why they should be able to see it. There's a man who's an atheist but says they already promised him he could see it, so they need to let him see it.
You said.
The state prison system does say they will be supplying the staff and the inmates with eclipse glasses so they can watch it out of their windows or wherever they're working that day.
I don't get the atheist argument. Like I get the religious one. God said this happened on this day.
Okay.
What's the atheist saying that doesn't
they're-
believe in anything?
They're just saying they were promised
Yes,
that they
his
could.
only
I
argument
don't
is
think
you
it's a
already said I
religious
could
thing.
watch
All right,
it.
that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
All right.
252 WCMF. Let's talk to Rob. Hey, Robbie, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man.
First time, long time. Been listening to CMF for almost 40 years.
Sorry.
You know, it's
Across
weird. It's
Canada.
weird. For the last, 40 years, we've all been sitting around like, when's Rob going to call?
Well, there you go. Today's the day.
Nice.
This thing, the first thing I thought of when I heard that they're suing is Jim Carrey in Liar Liar. Their defense is stop breaking the law, a-hole.
Okay. I
It's
would.
unbelievable.
Okay, so you can't believe as Tommy spills water all
I
over
just
all of
spilled
the
it.
I was
All
giving
over
myself a
himself.
blessing.
So, all right, you don't believe any of these people deserve to watch the eclipse, Rob?
Absolutely not. You're in prison. You're in jail.
All right. I mean, they're still giving them glasses to watch the eclipse from their cell, though, Rob.
They are?
I've said that 5
Oh,
times.
I
you
thought.
idiot!
Wait. I thought just the
No,
worker.
the prisoners and the employees will be
That's
getting
why
I
we're
would
glasses.
not
talking
give
about
them
the
those
windows.
glasses.
Why wouldn't you give them the
God
glasses?
knows what they could turn those things
Shut
into.
up! They're cardboard and plastic.
Bro, that's all you got to give these people.
to make what?
They'll kill you.
Yeah.
They'll kill you. Some guy will figure out how to stab you with them glasses. 3D style.
Hey,
Not 3D.
Rob, we waited 40 years for this call and you nailed it, buddy. We really appreciate it.
Have a good day, guys.
All right, there goes
They're
Rob.
all out of their minds.
Well, I think you think about it though.
What?
If people have a cell facing where the eclipse is going to be, for safety reasons, you might have to give them the glasses because we've been seeing reports.
my eyes.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
if you watch this happen without glasses, you can severely damage your eyes.
Yeah, I get it.
No, but then you're on the hook to pay for that medical.
All right.
You are, and I am, and
All right,
Kimmy
yeah,
is,
yeah.
right? I mean, what's worse, $1 a pair of glasses or thousands of dollars in eye treatment? You know what's funny? You hear this story, and I get it, man. Like I'm with you. I'm not going to sit here and fight to the death to give prisoners the ability to go outside and watch an
Yeah.
eclipse, right? Fine. But there's a lot of people that are scared of doing time in prison.
Yeah.
This situation sends home one of the worst things that you never think about doing time.
What's that?
all of the stuff you'd miss.
Oh, sure.
Right? Not just the birthdays or deaths or graduations, but the simple stuff like sporting events, unique local things,
Simple
concerts.
freedom, yeah.
Exactly. Like you're completely cut out of all of that.
Yeah.
And sure, not being able to have a drink or go to McDonald's or
Just
whatever.
take a walk.
Yeah, would suck.
Yeah.
But the hardest thing to deal with, I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and statistically, there are guys, men and women, that are locked up in the state penitentiary that are science enthusiasts
Oh, sure.
that aren't going to get to take this in. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's
Yeah.
over. They're never going to see it. That sucks really hard.
It does. But, you are in prison.
Yes,
It's supposed to kind of suck in here.
no, I get it. I understand. Well, that brings up another debate, Tommy.
Right.
Is prison to punish or is prison to rehabilitate?
Well, we haven't rehabilitated, so I'm going to go with we're doing good on the punishing.
No, there are people that have been rehabilitated.
Yeah, but it's pretty low, isn't it?
I know.
Like people
What do
that
you-
really come out and become like model citizen. I thought most people end up back
Repeat.
in the system. Like they
What are
go
you
out.
basing,
and
what are
they
you
can
basing that on?
make, New York State statistics on
The
stuff.
same statistics that he found about prison windows.
Yes, all prison windows face in, not out. Gonna see outside.
I also love how a guy like you goes, they don't come out and become model citizens. Like you, the model citizen that you are and all the model things you've done your
I'm
entire
pretty
life.
nice.
You just had a 20-minute discussion arguing with me that every man is Scuzzola.
Yeah, but not prison scuzzola. Just
Oh, there's a different level between Bro, how many
There's so many
illegal...
levels of scuzz.
You've done a minimum 15 things in your life where you could have ended up in a state prison.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so shut
But
up.
doesn't that every man
So
think
then-
about it?
But aren't you then making an
So,
argument
yeah.
for why they should get to see the eclipse?
All right, you scuzzolas. Here's your glasses. Go outside and enjoy yourselves.
Bro, I can't
Just
wait.
be back in 15 minutes.
I can't wait to see where the court comes down on this. And
They
if
got to rule against it,
Well,
man.
I mean,
They'd
there's
have
all,
to come up with a decision pretty quick.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're fast
Because what if
tracking this.
the court says no? What are you going to do?
Nothing.
What do you mean?
You're locked up.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's what the
Oh, yeah.
decision would
Nothing
be.
changes.
Right.
Well-
I mean, I guess a prisoner really doesn't have much leverage in the situation.
Well, I mean, they could also make an exception only for religious reasons.
But that also
But
creates
then
more
everybody
tension
all of a
inside
sudden,
the prison.
yeah, I would guess like then all of a sudden everybody's religious.
Yeah.
Or pissed off that they got to do it and we didn't.
Yeah,
Like, it's
okay.
better to say no than let some.
It's better say no than let some.
Yes.
Ooh, Tommy talked good today. Let's take a break. Nothing better than getting a bonus, man.
Oh, yeah.
Bonus
That'd be
check.
Nice.
Right? Yeah.
I've heard of them.
There are NFL players who overperform their contract
Mm.
and do things that earn them more money when the season is over. And the NFL put out a list this week of the players that earn those bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one Bills player is almost on the top of the list
Wow.
for the money that he made.
Yeah.
Yet there's also the man who made the least amount of money.
But he's not a bill.
No, he's not a Bill, but he is arguably one of the most famous faces in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And when you find out what this man made
Yeah.
for the 4 snaps he took last season,
Okay.
Kimmy, why even send him this check?
Is that puny?
We'll get into it next to the break room on 96.5 WCMF. The sports calendar is loaded, and FanDuel's making it even What's better than getting a bonus check, man?
Oh, bonus.
Free money.
Nice.
And there were some NFL players this week that found out they got some pretty significant
No
bonus
kidding.
checks. There are also some NFL players this week that found out they are getting a check that they're never going to use ever.
Oh.
Because one of the most famous faces in the NFL also received this season the smallest bonus check for how much he played.
Oh.
You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5, WCMF, just after 8 o'clock. It's Wednesday. You know what that means.
Time to get our hate on.
A woman who was very upset with you.
Me.
Yes, because you assumed you knew more than a woman about a man thing that you have no expertise in only because you have a penis.
Oh.
And we'll get to the story just after 8 o'clock here in the break room on CMF. So NFL contracts, Tommy, have what's called performance bonuses in them. You've seen this before. Most of the time, it's extra money a player is paid for time they've spent on the field. And those bonuses can get pretty big.
No kidding.
For example, Bills offensive lineman Spencer Brown earned almost an extra $1 million last year for all the time that he played. It was one of the highest in the league. But it turns out you don't need to put a ton of time in to make at least some kind of money.
All right.
The man with the smallest performance bonus in the NFL last season, Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, forgot about that.
Aaron Rodgers played 4 snaps. But it was written into his contract that he still gets a bonus based on time played. All right, so Tommy, Aaron Rodgers is currently playing on a 2-year, $75 million contract for the Jets. Can you guess what his performance bonus was for 4 snaps last year?
I'm going to say $1,000 a snap, $4,000.
$4,000. Kimmy, did you see the number?
I did.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers earned in performance bonus pay $81.14.
Wait, seriously?
Yes.
They got to cut him a check for $81.
We're not making that up. Aaron
That's
Rodgers.
embarrassing for anybody.
Why would you pay him an $81.14 bonus when he is making $75 million?
I guess you got
have to, yeah.
You have to, yeah.
So all of this was made public in paperwork this week. Now, keep in mind
That's
that,
before he pays his agent and taxes.
Yep. In reality, he's probably walking away with a cool $40.
25 cents.
So after taxes and agent fees and all that stuff, he made about $10 per snap last season. That's going to show up either in a line in his paycheck, right? Like bonus, $81.14. Or he could get an entirely separate check because it is the offseason, NFL players.
Right.
It's possible that he either gets direct deposited or gets a paper check, $81.14.
If he's got a sense of humor, if he gets a paper check, you've got to frame that thing and put it up next to all your other stuff that you have. All your accomplishments would just be funny.
Yeah, if there's one thing we know about Aaron Rodgers, he's got a great sense of humor.
He's not great when the joke's on him.
Load of laughs.
Yeah.
Like, what could you even... a normal-ass person working an average job, a $50,000 to $60,000 a year job, an $81 bonus.
For the year, that's what you get.
That would be a slap in the face,
Yeah.
right? Like, what is that, 2 tanks of gas? A
Not
dinner
even.
out?
Yeah, but that's before taxes.
You're right, I forgot.
So you're down to either a tank of gas or a really nice lunch. Because you can't take your wife out to dinner for $40.
No, well, I mean, there's some places.
It ain't like going to be too exciting. You're going to be home before 7.
I'm surprised, Kimmy, that his contract had any performance bonuses in it based on the money that he was getting guaranteed.
I think, don't they all kind of have like these weird little performance bonuses built in? Like, I do wonder how uncommon it is to have like a small check sent to you based on weird stuff that's written in your contract. Right? Because I mean, like, guys are measured on a lot of ways on the field. So maybe like there are a lot of checks that come their way that maybe they forgot about.
I would get a bonus for like throwing 35 touchdown passes. I would get a bonus for leading the Jets to the playoffs. I would get a bonus for winning the Super Bowl. But a per snap bonus for a guy
maybe that's
making
common
75
with like veteran
Okay,
players.
maybe.
I don't know because of the risk of getting injured.
But it's not like he lost any money last year when he got hurt. He still got paid out half of that money in the contract. I mean, Aaron Rodgers made...
But you gotta, I guess, like, that's how teams save money, though, too, right? They write these kinds of performance bonuses in that don't count towards anything. So, I don't know.
Again, 252-WCMF, 252-9263. The NFL put out their list of performance bonuses granted to players who spent more time on the field than teams assumed they would. Spencer Brown, Bills O-lineman, earned almost $1 million.
Wow.
He was one of the top in the NFL. The lowest performance bonus in the NFL last year was $81.14 paid to quarterback of the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, for the 4 snaps that he played. You almost have to donate it.
That's also insulting. Who you donating it to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, you're right.
Yeah, you can donate more than that.
Goodwill's going to get $40.
Like, I wonder if Von Miller and players like that have stuff like that worked
He
into
didn't
their
play too
contract.
much.
Well, I mean, you can look it up. I don't know. Like, the only bills that I saw, there were 3 or 4 bills, and none of them were, like, name bills.
You think there'd be a minimum that we have to pay or we don't pay you? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't even hit the field 20 times, if you don't even get 20 snaps, we don't owe you anything. You think they would just cut that in so they don't have to put out some measly-ass check?
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers also seems like the guy who'd be like, no, I want my $10 a snap. I want him. I'm going to get everything coming to me. So congratulations to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you earned it, buddy.
Yep, on his check for $81.14. It's Wednesday. You know what that means?
Oh, it's time to get our hate on.
That's right. Hate Mail of the Week coming at you. 2 weeks ago, Tommy told us a story. You were just looking out for this woman.
Yeah.
A woman we work with. A woman that you saw as vulnerable because she's
Poor thing,
younger, right? You assume she didn't know.
She didn't.
And it took a big, strong man like you to step in and be like, listen, doll.
Radio Daddy showed up. Who's your Radio Daddy?
A woman wrote us a letter upset with what you did because she seems to listen to the show a lot, and she knows that you know nothing about any of this stuff. So for you to stick your head in to a situation that you knew nothing about only because guys who have penises know about this stuff.
Well, it helps to have one.
It's inappropriate.
All right.
And here's the thing, man. She might have a point.
What the hell does she know about anything?
Not just with you, but with everything. And we'll get into it next here in the break room on 96.5 WCMF. Since the beginning of time, there have been gender roles.
Oh, yeah.
Things guys know how to do, things women know how to do.
There were lanes, Pat.
But these days, the lines between those roles, they're starting to get gray.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks a lot, women's right to vote. One woman
Yeah.
is taking major issue with something you did or wanted to do to a coworker of
So she's
ours.
saying I was wrong.
Not only were you wrong, the thought you had to do this was wrong.
I like how I'm trying to be nice and I get lit up.
And this may be the first ever hate mail of the week we've ever gotten that is 100% dead on.
Oh.
It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for Hate Mail of the Week. You're hanging out in the break room. Rochester's Classic Rock, 96.5, WCMF. And about 2 weeks ago, Tommy, you told us a story involving one of our coworkers and her car.
Yeah. So I'm coming out in the morning, walking into the building, and our coworker, Hope, young gal.
Yep, works down at Country Station.
She's got a new car.
Young gal. Bro, like, you
Young
could've-
gal.
You didn't have to. It sounds so
No,
condescending.
with what he's wearing today, he should refer to women as young gals.
Part of the younger set around here.
Okay.
And, me, the old silver fox. Comes out, and I hear her car pull up, and it's loud. So I know she's got a hole in her muffler. It's become detached.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's
sensitive.
what you were assuming.
You could hear it. You would ain't
But
you
you didn't
hear
know
that thing
officially.
loud. What's that?
But you didn't know.
There's trouble in the manifold. And there's fire in the mountain. Run, boy, run. So I wanted to tell Hope that, hey, man, you got to have that checked out. It sounds like, because you're going to get, a cop's going to pull you over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, these kids that go out partying at night, they think they're safe, and, they get pulled over, and she's had a few pops, and now she's in trouble.
Now you got her. Okay, fine. So
I was going to tell her about it, but I said, don't be that old guy telling somebody what to do with their car.
So Tommy came in and he asked Kimmy and I, should I say something?
Yeah.
And we laughed in your face and we brought it on the air. And then you got pissed at us because we were like, why would you even think this is a good
Right.
idea?
Yep.
Right? And look, to your credit, you didn't say a word
I
to
didn't
her,
go old
Yeah.
man on her.
but took every bone in your body to keep your big mouth shut.
Yeah.
So when we talked about this on the air, one woman heard it and it bothered her to the point
Am I helping people?
where
But
she...
yeah. But you weren't really helping.
Well, no, I mean, I think he was trying to help.
Okay.
I mean, there's a combination
all right,
here.
all right.
I listen, Pat and I have driven junk.
Listen, to your
I
point.
know junk when I hear it.
Actually, never mind. I was going to give you credit, but after
What?
the last few breaks, you've proven it wrong.
Okay, good. This woman was bothered so much that she wrote us a letter. Because according to her, just because you have a penis doesn't mean you know what your grandpappy knew.
All right.
Actual physical letters sent through the mail telling us we suck, wanting us fired. Sit back and enjoy today's Lady Hate Mail of the Week.
I heard the discussion about Tommy wanting to scold your female coworker about
Scold.
something being wrong with her car. And while I was listening, something struck me. I've never heard Tommy talk about cars once on WCMF in all the years I've listened.
Not true.
He doesn't work on cars. He doesn't have a nice car. He doesn't talk like a gearhead or watch motorsports. Yet he decided he was going to step in and be the hero for this woman because he assumed something was wrong. Why? What does he know that she doesn't? My grandfather and father raced all kinds of cars while I was growing up into my adulthood. I would spend my weekends at the track and in our garage while they worked and showed me what they were doing. I can tell you a lot about cars. And every time that comes up, some guy with no experience whatsoever wants to test me or tell me I'm wrong simply because they're a man and they think they should know better. That's what I heard when I heard this discussion, and I think Tommy needs to understand he's embarrassed himself. It's better to stay quiet and let people believe you're a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt.
you wrote
Just
that?
because you're a man doesn't mean you know about what you think are man things. Sincerely, Lacey.
Lacey the chick.
Lacey the chick?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Not even
Is
her
that supposed to be
name.
an insult?
That ain't her name.
Okay.
Lacey.
Why is that not her name? Oh,
Was
to
she
be
working
fair,
at the $50?
I don't know. I mean, have you ever met a real Lacey?
No.
Like in real life?
I did know one Lacey.
Okay,
growing
can we do
up.
a Lacey?
Yeah.
The only time you
Listen.
ever meet a Lacey, they're being introduced by a DJ.
Okay.
Hey, guys, Lacey's up.
Why would. What?
It's a stripper thing. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
gotcha.
Okay, yeah.
It didn't
Trying to
click
keep
in
it
my
up.
head.
You turned it into my mom.
I am.
Why? She was at the strip club too? Ladies and gentlemen, Edith! Guys, no, not all at once. Not all at once. All right, listen. For guys that actually listen to that letter,
Yeah.
that just hit a bunch of dudes real hard.
Yes.
Because she's 100% right.
I wasn't coming across like I was an expert.
He's not listening.
No, he's not.
He didn't listen to that
I
letter?
just heard what you said.
Okay.
And I think it goes beyond cars, too. But
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah.
Look, Tommy, to Lacey's point, you don't know the first thing about cars.
I know a couple of things.
No, you don't.
So do you.
Look, if you were driving and all of a sudden your car stopped working, could you pop the hood and figure it out?
No.
No, you couldn't.
No.
And I say that being in the same boat, like you just said. How many guys listening right now have the capability to fix a car, diagnose a problem, come up with a solution the way that guys did in the past?
Okay, let me ask you a question, wise guy.
Sure, yeah.
So let's say I notice her taillights are out.
Okay.
I shouldn't say anything, right?
Well,
'Cause
that's
I don't know
different.
nothing
No,
about cars.
Because you can see that her...
No. Blind ass old man can't see a goddamn thing without his specs on.
that I
don't
agree
know what
with.
you're talking about. And I just got the car was allowed. I wasn't saying
You can
check
see.
the points in the plugs.
You can see the taillights are out. You have proof of that. You can tell me
I
you just gotta
can
replace
hear
the bulb. Okay.
that your car is a loud West Side car.
Look, Lacey's point that because we have a penis, we feel like we need to step in, having no
well, there
idea.
are penis areas.
Having really her muffler's a penis area.
It is.
Do we try that again?
Well,
I don't know.
it kind of looks
I
like
think
a
you're
thing.
doing it wrong.
It's a tailpipe.
Ow, 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 ow.
Well, let it cool off.
You talking about your mom or the tailpipe?
Buy them both a drink first.
Look, man, we have no idea what experience that woman we're talking to has with this thing that we're not
Okay,
sure about.
all right.
And you can hear the frustration, Kimmy, coming through in Lacey's letter, right? This woman says she knows her stuff, that she grew up in a garage and on the track, and that she had to sit and listen to dicks make her prove herself only because she was outside her traditional role. You don't
All right.
understand the frustration of this woman hearing you tell that story?
But, you know, she first of all, this Lacey character wasn't there. She wasn't in the moment that I was in.
In the moment.
Right.
Okay.
And, you know, I look at somebody like Hope. She doesn't look like somebody that knows a lot about cars.
See, that's an assumption.
Okay.
That's the whole point of her letter.
She looks like a girl,
All right, but let's time out.
a girly girl.
Time out. You're wearing hemmed jeans,
A
Beetle
shacket.
boots, a shacket, and a turtleneck sweater.
Right, standard guy stuff. I
I've
hear
never
ya.
seen a NASCAR racer that looks like you.
You
What
spend
about
more.
the European circuit?
Yo, did you drive your Formula One car in here
Yes,
today?
I could fit in Formula One.
You spend more time at a salon than most women. So when it comes to salon advice, I might take your advice on that.
Well, you never do.
Look, man, I mean, I understand that you're sensitive
All right.
because you were trying to do the right thing.
Right.
I get that your heart was in the right place.
And I did the right thing. I didn't say
You
anything.
did. Look, I'm not criticizing you for caring, but Lacey brings up a valid point. You shouldn't assume that you know more about something than a woman does just because it's a traditional dude role.
I understand that.
Do you?
But 90% of the time, you're going to be right. She don't know.
Well, here's the thing
When it comes
too.
to mechanics.
You don't either.
I also don't think that there's no problem like if you're pointing this thing out to somebody,
Safety issue.
if you spot a problem. The problem with guys is they double down and try to sound like they know what they're talking about. When you can just say, I don't know what the problem is, but it doesn't sound right.
But she already knows that.
Yes,
She's already
I
aware that her
understand.
cars are.
But I guess in that circumstance, you're not trying to be an expert where you sometimes like you just can't help yourself. Even if it's a topic you know nothing about, you'll still try to be the smartest person about it in the room.
Well, you got to sell your information.
But you don't, though, because all you have to do is just point it out. Nobody asks for follow-up details or anything like that, especially information you can't provide.
All right, so I should have walked up and said, honey, I'm not sure what I'm hearing, but it doesn't sound right, darling. And maybe you should take it to a man garage and have Mr. Goodwrench tighten her up for you. All right, sweetie?
So the fact of the matter
Let's skedaddle
is,
on.
this hate mail of the week from Lacey was upset that Tommy was going to tell our coworker Hope, who's a younger woman, that her muffler was damaged, even though Tommy has no experience with cars, knows nothing about them. Like Kimmy said, this doesn't just apply to cars.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship, there's a very good chance that your wife, girlfriend, does something that 30, 40, 50 years ago no housewife would ever do, right?
Yeah.
Your mom was not going to work every day,
No.
Tommy. There's also a really good chance that there are things every man used to know how to do that you are now completely inept at. For example, you and I, Tommy, can't fix a damn thing in our home.
No.
We are the least handy men in America. That's a dude role, right? And it's another thing we cannot do. Yet, and be honest,
What's up?
you still think in that realm You know better than your wife does.
Yeah, I mean, I may not know everything, but I know more than she does
Why?
about certain things.
Why do you think that?
Because I've just been down this road before, baby.
No, you've talked about how your father-in-law would come over to do all this stuff in your house.
Yeah.
in
And he
your
kind of
second
taught
marriage.
me.
Oh, did he teach you?
Kinda.
Tony kind of showed me what to do.
How many stories have you told where you just stood off to the side while Tony did all the work?
But
Big
I
Tony
listened and I watched and I got him cigarettes and stuff.
252 WCMF 252-9263. Let's talk to Rammer. Hey, Rammer, what's up, buddy?
Hey, good morning. Happy, what is it, Wednesday?
It is Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Tommy, a couple of questions. What
Yeah,
kind
buddy.
of car is it?
White one. The four-tire
You
ones
don't
with the bumper.
You don't even know what kind of car she's driving,
He
and
doesn't.
you're trying to give her advice?
I think it's one of those foreign jobs, remember?
What is that? What are you talking that car is made on?
Ford Soul.
Well, if it's a foreign job, like maybe a Subaru WRX, the exhaust
Right.
could be standard, performance. I mean, she might have a tip on it, might have a, cherry bomb mufflers. Oh, wait, no, those went out in the 80s. Never mind. So, cars don't have points anymore, right, Tommy? They haven't had points. since,
Neither does this conversation.
Yeah, it does. Because the conversation is Hope is right. You need to sometimes just keep your mouth shut.
No, but here's the thing. And this is what the funniest part of this whole thing is. Hope is such a sweet kid.
She's a great gal.
That she came down and somebody told her we were talking about her, and she's like, I know, I'm sorry. She wasn't even going to light Tommy up. It was Lacey who writes his letter, the one that's lighting his ass
Oh,
up.
man hands Lacey.
Well, then Lacey is right. And I'll just tell you something else. I mean, having been around the car business basically my whole life, there's a good chance that if you take your car into the dealership, it's going to be a female technician working on it, Tommy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, maybe look around. You walk in, there's service writers are females, salespeople are females. The days of the men in the car business have long gone for like 20 years now.
Women even have their own bank accounts now, Tommy.
Wow.
Well, if he would come out once in a while and do something other than go to Wegmans and Dunkin', he might know this. But, he's an old guy. He never gets out.
I'm going to go down to I today, walk in and say, hey, where are all the chicks at? I want to check it out. Rammer sent me.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to do. Rammer, thanks for the call, buddy. Hey, where the ladies at?
Rammer sent me.
Ladies' night.
You know where this happens all the time, and I don't know how guys get away with that, especially here.
What's that?
Mansplaining sports to women. I had a guy explain to me who Josh Allen was because he kept referring to him as Josh. He's like, oh, Josh Allen. I'm talking about the quarterback of the Buffalo. Like, what woman in Western New York doesn't know who Josh Allen is, sir?
And like to you, someone who works in
And
sports.
that's
True.
like, and I think like if you're talking Bills, like I'm guessing like most women can pick up on Bills information that
Especially
live in
the
our area.
headliners.
Even if you didn't grow up a Bills fan, you still know enough basic Bills knowledge to get by in a conversation. But like the amount of guys that'll like say the background. Well, the Buffalo Bills, they lost 4 Super Bowls. I'm not sure if you're aware. Yeah, man, we know.
2-5. Do you hear the frustration in her voice?
Yeah, but I hear that all the time with her.
Sometimes
Hard to tell with her, man. She's never happy.
And sometimes, like, we're so defeated, you just got to let it happen. Oh, okay, yeah. Just go. I don't even feel like correcting you anymore.
252 WCMF. Hate mail of the week. Lacey writes us upset that Tommy was trying to mansplain a car issue that he did not understand to a car that he did not see to a woman who may know more about cars than he did. And Lacey's upset about this because she says she grew up on a track with her grandpa and dad, that they were in the garage all the time. She knows what she's doing, and her whole life she's got guys explaining how cars work, despite the fact that she says she knew more about them. And again, look, man, I'm not trying to crush you here.
No, I gotta get it, man. I don't feel being crushed.
Your heart was in the right place.
Yes.
I just don't get why you're arguing what her point is here.
Because it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if I would have walked in and something happened to that kid's car, and I said, "Oh yeah, I heard that noise earlier," you always, why didn't you say something? You're such a dick, Tom. That's why nobody likes you in the building. You never talk to anybody.
No, there's plenty other reasons people
and again,
don't like
you can say something. You just don't have to be an expert about it. You don't have to, because you're not.
Maybe I should just walk around with you all day and you can explain it to me. You
You're
can
getting upset. I'm trying to give you
everything to me
advice.
with your hands.
I said you can tell her that it's making hey, I noticed your car's making a weird noise. That's all you have to say. You don't have to point out what you think it is and what's wrong with the car.
If one day you're bleeding out of your eyeball and she points out, hey, Tommy, you're bleeding out of your eyeball. I don't know if you know that. Of course she knew her car was loud, you idiot. She doesn't need that pointed out to her. Hey, you're wearing a jacket. What? 252 WCMF. Let's talk to Brittany. Hey, Brittany. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What do you got for us?
So my husband is a bit of a mechanic, and he's a farmer. He does all his own work on all of his vehicles and tractors.
Yeah.
And the amount of times that I go out and help him with something kind of bigger, and he can't figure it out, and I'll point out, like, oh, I think I don't really know. I don't know the names of things, but, like, this looks like the problem. And he will exhaust every other option before he even considers what I pointed out, and I'm usually right. It's hilarious. He's
but you're
ridiculous.
like the worst, man.
Why?
Because, like, she even
But
says...
he's taking the opposite side just to look like an expert.
But she doesn't. But she says, I don't know what it does. This guy's an actual farmer and a mechanic.
Okay. All right. Here's the thing.
It'd be like Pat walking into his wife's office. Yo, I also have skin. Let me explain
But
stuff to you.
he's not even listening to what she's saying.
All right, hold on,
He's
hold
not
on.
even considering.
Hold on. Now, Brittany, you sound like a wonderful farm gal out there. You sound like a great person. All right. And I'm normally on the no mansplaining side, but when you add husband wife dynamic. I'm with your husband. I'm with your husband 100%. I cannot let my wife have that. I'm not going to let her
And he's
win.
a big farm man.
Oh yeah, and he'll try. Sometimes he'll like say, you know what? Yeah, I don't need your help anymore, and I'll leave. And then he'll come back hours later. I'll be like, what was the problem? And he's like, well, it was what you said.
All right, so Brittany, let me ask you a question then, because you're so cool. You are so cool, Brittany.
Yeah.
Why are you hating on Brittany?
I'm not hating. I'm asking a question. Brittany, if you're right, you never bring it up ever again to your husband, right?
Oh yeah, never.
You're a bad person, Brittany. He's just trying to work the
course,
farm.
man.
He's got a farm. He's trying to feed this family.
Well, I need something every now and then.
Enjoy his rough hands and be quiet.
Brittany, thanks for the call. I really appreciate it.
Bye.
There goes farm country.
I need a woman with a quiet mouth.
No, look, I get the wife thing.
Yeah.
Because I am guilty of doing that with my
I guess
wife.
it's a different dynamic that's, I don't even know if you're trying to be an expert as much as you are trying to just be right.
No, that's what it is.
No, it's-
I want to be right, and I don't
Yeah.
want my wife to be right. And if I admit that my wife is right, and you know this from every other thing, even if she doesn't know,
Yep.
she's going to be the expert. If she's right about one thing, she's right about everything.
And she's going to keep showing up.
That's what I'm saying. Stranger woman, I'm not going to mansplain.
All right.
Wife, stay out of my business. 252 WCMF. We'll take one more call. Jim's got the last word. Hey, Jimmy, what's up, buddy?
Nothing much. I do some of the maintenance on my wife's car and mine, brakes, mufflers, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, she had come home and she was complaining something's rattling, and I crawl under, and it's the heat shield on the muffler. It's like this aluminum. Anyway, ask any mechanic. They start rattling. They're like,
I love how you
"Let it
started
rattle."
explaining it to
Well,
us,
he was
realizing
self-aware.
realized we weren't going to get anything you were going to say, and just moved
He's
on
like,
quick.
these are
Yeah,
idiots.
I know.
Damn
I
heat
know. So
shield.
anyway, I said, when I get a chance, I'll rip it off, and it'll, the rattling will go away. Anyway, she goes up to Wegmans, and some Tommy dick follows her in and starts telling her that she's driving a death trap.
Wait, that was
her
her?
husband wants her dead because her shroud is going to kill her.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And she came home all upset, and I wanted to hunt this Tommy dick down and kill him.
No, that's a little far, but okay. I understand your frustration. No, so Tommy, the guy in the Wegmans parking lot who was just doing the right
Well, he
thing.
saw the thing dangling like that. You may say something to somebody.
Okay, you're going to die.
Well, that's extreme. Yeah, you don't have to, scare her.
Yeah, he said she was driving a death trap, and it scared her.
Yeah.
I also
Tommy-
find it funny, Jim, that she took the guy in the parking lot's word, the stranger's word for it, more than she did yours. Because you had already told her, I'll take care of it, don't worry about it. Stranger's like, you're going to die. My husband's an idiot, I'm going to die.
I think that might be why I was so mad at the guy, because I'm like, seriously, you're listening to some stranger?
Jimmy, thanks for the call, buddy. Have a good rest of the
See
day.
you guys.
All right, there goes Jim. All right, look.
Yeah.
You're good. You
I'm
tried.
not going to talk anymore to people.
Awesome. Ratings just went up.
Ooh.
No, look, I'm again, your heart. Okay,
I
never mind.
mean, you
Never mind.
literally just did this, a couple breaks ago with how
Right.
prison works.
Yeah.
You're not an expert. You've never
I've-
worked at a prison. You've never been in prison.
I've
But
heard
you
of
were telling
prison.
everybody how even the logistics of the building work.
What's common sense?
Again, not your strongest suit.
All right.
People love cold cases.
Oh, the crime, yeah.
Well, either crime or
Sure.
bodies that show up, and where did these
We've
things
had some
come
big
from?
ones in this town.
This might be national news today
No kidding.
or tomorrow. Now,
They cracked it?
look, this body showed up in Oswego 30 years ago. 30 years ago. And for the last 30 years, they've been trying to figure out who this person is.
Wait, they don't know.
Did not know.
But they have a body.
And where it came from. They cracked that case this week.
Oh.
No kidding.
And Tommy, I didn't know this was possible.
Really?
Because this man that they found in Oswego, dead, had never been to Oswego, it seems, in his life.
Like he just dropped down from the sky?
Until they found him there.
No kidding.
And it wasn't a car that brought him, and it wasn't a plane that brought him, it wasn't a boat that brought him.
Wait, you're out of transportation.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
We'll tell you the story next here in the break room on 96.5 WCMF. Folks love cold case files, Tommy.
Oh, yeah.
Crime, bodies found, nobody has any clue about them. One of those cases, 30 years in the making, has been solved this week.
So they figure it out.
Yes, and there is a chance that some folks listening had this man potentially underneath them
What?
30 years ago
Underneath them?
and had no idea. You're hanging out in the break room. Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5. WCMF will jump right into it. April 8th, 1992. A body was found on the shores of Lake Ontario just outside of the city of Oswego.
Like a dude just came floating up.
There he is, right there.
A bobber.
Nobody had any idea who this man was. He had no identification on him. He didn't match the description of anyone missing from the area, and authorities had no idea if there was any foul play. And no one had any clues to go on. With that, Tommy, the mystery remained. 5 years goes by. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years.
Jesus.
No clues.
Nobody's saying, hey, man, where's so-and-so?
No. I mean, again, he did not match a description of anyone missing.
So nobody's missing this guy?
No. He's gone. There's a body. Nobody knows.
All right.
That is until this week. Back in 2022, the state started again to try and identify this man found. They used improved DNA technology, and they found a match, a family match.
Oh.
That was found in the city of Buffalo, so they could tell who he was related to. And with a little more investigative work, they figured out who in that family had been missing. This man's name was Vincent Stack. But he had Stack.
All right.
But he had nothing to do with the city of Oswego. In fact, it's possible this man had never been to Oswego until his body washed up there.
Yeah.
There you go. Stack went missing in Niagara Falls, Canada, December 2nd, 1992.
So they did know that he fell into the water?
So that's just it. It's believed that he had gone over the falls.
Wait, he went over the falls?
This is the belief. And if that's what happened,
so maybe like a suicide or something?
So they don't know. Nobody knows if it was an accident, if he went over on purpose. Nobody has any idea. But if he did go over the falls, which seems to be the case, that means this man traveled 15 miles from Niagara Falls to the mouth of the Niagara River.
Then
130 miles across Lake Ontario to the shores of Oswego where his body was found.
God damn. That's a ride.
Did either of you know that was possible?
No. And I mean, even if it was, obviously it's possible, but I'm just surprised like nobody saw it or, you know what I mean? Like it's made it amazing that his body made it that far before it was discovered.
Washed up on the shore. Yeah. And maybe somebody did see something, not knowing it was a body, just a bunch of...
Yeah, you wouldn't think a missing guy from there would end up all the way out there.
Which is why it ended 30 years of questions, this thing. All right, so it also means it's very possible that along this journey, he was moving across our shore
he was
area.
floating along. Yeah.
There could be people listening right now that were out on a boat and unknowingly had this man's body travel underneath them on his way to Oswego. So just for reference, so you can realize how amazing this is. If you are sitting at your desk at work, pull up a map of Lake Ontario and see for yourself how far it is from Niagara Falls to the shores of the city of Oswego. Because in a car, Tommy, that's a 2.5, 3 hour drive. Easy.
Yeah, it's probably a long boat ride.
The story is insane.
Yeah, because we don't know exactly how long it would have taken, right?
Well, okay, he went missing in early December.
He
was found in early April.
Okay, so yeah, it's months worth.
Yeah. You don't forget, it's probably some frozen areas that he got stuck.
Probably some frozen.
Got stuck like a hand up.
Do bodies like how long do bodies float for?
I don't know. Well, we know.
I always thought once the air goes out of your lungs, you go to the bottom.
Okay, we just had a discussion about mansplaining things you don't understand.
All right.
Eventually, you come back up.
No, I think once the air goes out, you go to the bottom.
Yeah, but eventually the gases in your body bring you back up.
Oh, all right.
Eventually.
But then, all right.
Look, we know.
What did he eat if he's that gassy?
He wasn't gassy at all because he made it all the way to Oswego from Niagara Falls, according to the authorities, and nobody saw him. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody had any idea that he had traveled this far. And think about how creepy that is, too, for the people that ended up finding this body. You assume that it was someone from town, right?
Yeah, but it probably hit shore, right?
Yeah, that's where they found it. Oswego's not a very big place.
No.
And for a small town like Oswego, right, just a college town, to have this mystery hanging over their heads for 30 years, a man that nobody knew, recognized, had any idea where he was from, to be unidentified.
Yeah.
Only for him to, again, according to police, travel from Niagara Falls down past Rochester, up 104 along the shore to your town. Ugh. Ugh. So, with this story, again, a man who went missing in Niagara Falls, Canada, in early December of 1992. His body was found April 8th on the shores of the city of Oswego. For 30 years, nobody had any idea who he was. They just matched his DNA based on a familial match that was in a system in the state of New York. If you're the family, are you happy you know this information?
You have
or
closure,
do you regret finding out
Well,
this
you kind of
information?
knew something happened at the falls, though, it sounds like. They kind of knew he did die over the falls.
Yes. Well, no. Well, I mean, look,
Or
they
went
know he went
missing
missing.
there.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's always that outside chance because we have seen crazier stories where people go missing
Went
and
to Canada and just never came back.
and decided to live a whole new life.
Yeah.
And I guess with that, having that in your head, there's hope that either one day they're found again or that they're safe and they just wanted to run away.
But after 30 years, I guess you got to figure he's gone.
Well, and I wonder after 30 years who's still around that was familiar with them. Like this could be like, nieces, nephews, grandkids, whatever. I mean, this could be like family members that never really knew him but just knew of him.
So they had a picture of him from what looked like the late 80s, early 90s in this story. And he looked to be in his 50s, but it's also hard to tell because guys in their 20s also looked in their 50s in the 80s.
Yeah.
So it's possible, Kimmy, he had
He's
children
young.
of his own that would still be alive.
True.
Yeah, true.
Right? Because that would have been 30 years ago. So if those kids were 10, 20 years old, they'd be 40, 50 years old now.
Grown-ass people.
But, like, think about this, man. Like, on one hand, you have no closure. You're right. Everybody thinks they want closure. You get closure with this. But you would also have... It would be impossible not to think of the journey that your dad or your brother or your grandpa took from Niagara Falls. What a horrible way to die.
Well,
what a horrible
but you would think,
way to die.
Wouldn't you have died before you took the journey?
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like...
I
so
mean,
it's not
if
like,
you went over to the falls, throw
I
it
get
down the
those.
rocks.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
know,
whether
but-
or not that doesn't... I guess it doesn't make a difference where they found the body so
I
much.
understand. I understand, right? First off, I mean, yes, going over Niagara Falls sounds like a terrible way to die. I mean, we can ask Sam Patch. He didn't make it to the big falls, but it was still, But the fact that, like, Kimmy, people take their family's remains seriously. Most people do, right? And like, think about like him just like floating all the way across Lake Ontario and being completely unidentified.
So what did they do with the body? Did they just bury it in an unmarked grave at some point?
That's actually a great question. I don't have information on that. I do have that they
Did
went
have to
back in.
Yeah, save some of it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just been sitting in.
Oh, man. Wait, you think it was sitting in
bones?
like at the morgue?
All right, I don't want to disturb anybody, but in the story, and I'm paraphrasing, it said that they went back in to get a sample to try and match DNA in 2022, and it was mostly just skeletal remains.
Yeah.
So it sounds like maybe it was in like a poor man's gravesite?
I don't know.
You have to have those grave sites where they just...
Pauper's grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then how would you know it was him? It would have to be marked.
Yeah.
Right?
Labeled somehow.
I mean, I don't know.
Oswego dude.
When you have... Serious question. Maybe you can Google this. When you have a missing person...
That nobody identifies. What do you do with it?
Do you hold on to the body?
I would think you have to. Well, because don't they? I mean, they'll identify people based on like their dental records and things like that. So I would think that's something that they hold on to for a certain amount of time.
But you could
in
also
case-
make impressions of dental
Yeah.
records.
It sounds like they went in and got something.
Yeah, based on the story.
Yeah.
That it was still hanging around here.
How do people do these jobs?
Well, I mean, people find it interesting. It is science.
No, but like finding
Like
the guy,
yeah.
holding on to the guy. I gotta go look at your old skeletal self and
I think
start
it becomes.
scraping.
I think it becomes almost like
I know.
a puzzle they have to solve.
Yeah.
Yeah, a really gross puzzle.
I mean, look, there are people that dissect bodies for a living, right? Whether it's for scientific research or to find out what happened to them. Like, there are people that are performing autopsies today. They went to school to do that.
I know.
It gets them going. I mean, Kimmy's right. I think
Thank God we have
it's-
these people.
I think they remove the human aspect from it and see it as more of a a problem that needs to be solved.
I mean, it is interesting. I don't have the stomach for
I
it.
couldn't do it.
But, like, the details on the back end sound interesting to me, right? And, I mean, look, if these people don't exist, we don't have an answer for what happened to this guy. But the weirdest part of this story, I think, is we're never really going to know how he went over the falls.
And you said they're not even quite sure he went over the falls.
So, I mean, based on where he ended up, it seems like almost certain.
Probably how he looked, yeah.
If
you went over the falls, you would hit those rocks.
Well, yeah, you would have also been in the water for
a long time.
December, January, February, March, April, 5 months.
Right.
Who knows what's left over after
Yeah.
that? But, like, I mean, you know, did he do it on purpose?
Oh, yeah.
Did he slip and fall? Did he think he would be able to go and make it and survive? Because you see stories like that in the past that happened at Niagara Falls. I mean, they got it pretty buttoned up now where you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that long ago where daredevils would attempt to go over the falls, thinking they were actually going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
252 WCMF, 252-9263. Again, we're talking about this cold case, a body washed up on the shores of Lake Ontario, just outside of the city in Oswego, April 8th, 1992. For over 30 years, they had no idea who this guy was. He didn't match anyone missing from the area. In 2022, they went back with new DNA evidence trying to find who this person was. Using a database in New York State, they matched with a family in Buffalo. They did some investigation as to who was missing, and they figured out it was this man that they believe went over Niagara Falls in December of 1992. And if that's what happened, his body went over the falls, the 15 miles out of the mouth of the Niagara River, then took a 130-mile journey to the shores of Oswego, only to be identified in the year 2024. Let's talk to Paul. He's on CMF. Hey, Paul, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, eventually you would have ended up out in the ocean, because eventually go up through the Thousand Islands and that whole way. But mystery solved. I do know the guy's first name.
What's that?
It's Bob.
I'm sorry, you broke up. What'd you say?
It's Bob.
So it's
His first
Robert?
name-
Robert is his name?
Robert?
No, just Bob, because that's what you do when you're in the water.
Paul, you there?
Yeah, still here.
His name was Robert?
No, Bob. Bob.
Yeah, Robert.
No, Bob. It's just Bob. He goes by Bob.
Okay.
How do you know? Have you met him?
No, because that's what people do when they're in the water, is just Bob.
What Paul? Something's wrong with your phone. You broke up. Why? You knew him personally? Where'd Paul go?
I think he's in the water.
Oh, man, I got a good one. I got to call the break room.
I got a hot one.
I got to call the break room.
I got a hot one, baby.
You know what his name actually was?
But he also had to throw in a fun fact before his joke. Well, you know, he could have ended up in the ocean if he went up the St. Lawrence River.
I don't understand.
Speaking of men wanting to be experts.
Kimmy, if I grow up and become that guy, I want you to put me down like Old Yeller. Please. Please. I'll do it. He's my coworker. All right, let's take a break. Big political day in the state of New York yesterday.
Oh, the primaries.
Yeah. Did you know that until after the primaries ended yesterday?
I kind of did.
How do you know that?
I mean, I knew they were coming.
Okay, but
wasn't sure what day.
So you went and voted? Kimmy, you went and voted.
I didn't do that.
It is weird because there are people that went out and cast their vote. And, you know, we live in America. You should go out and cast your vote. But what we were voting for yesterday
was pointless.
Kind of inconsequential.
No, not kinda. It's pointless.
We'll get into it next here in the break room on CMF. You're telling me.
What's that?
Just because it doesn't matter for anything, that you shouldn't go exercise your right for freedom.
Oh, you should.
So you did.
You should.
So you did?
I could have.
You're hanging out in the break room. Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5 WCMF just after 9 o'clock this morning. $1,000 just for showing up.
Let's do it.
You in?
Yeah.
A lot of people thought this was a scam when they saw it on one news station's website, but it turns out it is not, in fact, a scam.
I just walk in, here's $1,000.
Well, no, there's a little bit more to that.
All right.
There's a little bit more because they need to figure out some information, and they're going to use you to do it.
Okay.
We'll tell you all about it just after 9 o'clock here in the break room on CMF. Yesterday, April 2nd, 2024, was the New York State presidential primary.
Yeah, big
now,
time.
if you're not big time plugged into politics, you may not have even realized until last night when the returns started coming in that it was the presidential primary in New York State. So you didn't go vote in that yesterday?
I did not.
Kimmy, you didn't go vote in it yesterday.
No.
Why did you guys not vote?
I don't do low votes.
What's a low vote?
It's pointless.
What do you mean pointless?
Because they've already figured out who these candidates have already won their primaries. So they're the two that are going. Like, no matter what I do, they've already determined it.
It is weird that they keep these things going.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't get it.
Right? Why?
Just to check a box off.
Yeah, in
I
case
guess. I don't
somebody
know.
like but even that, like they say, like there's no possible way it's these two.
Yeah, they already have all the delegates they need, right?
Right.
Okay, so like,
So you're just going through the motions.
all right, now I don't want to sound like that guy who's like, what is this costing the state of New York? But it costs money to run a primary,
Sure
right?
it does.
Like, if none of this matters, why are you spending the money to do it?
I have no idea.
And you're also
Do you have to do it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, is it just something like we have to say we did?
As part of
Part
like
of
the
yeah, it's like
no,
yeah.
no, like I mean,
You go
when-
through
Part of the
process.
yeah, like
yeah.
when you go nominate at the Republican and Democratic national conventions, maybe you have to have X amount of
Yeah.
And by the way,
delegates.
they're both spending money like crazy still.
But not
The
New
two
York.
top- but all over.
But not
and
New
they've already,
York.
but they figure, they got it.
But that's the other funny part about
I mean, they're
this,
on the
right?
campaign trail. They're all hitting it because they're trying to get to the general election.
Sure. But what's funny is, like, New York State's presidential primary has never been, at least as far as when we were alive, that important on a national scale.
Not really.
We never see candidates campaigning in New York during primaries, at least ones that are, high up on the
Right.
list, which is strange considering how big New York is.
But New York it locks it up pretty quick. Like you either know one way or the other pretty quick.
Okay, but it's still a
it's
pri-
not like a swing state that could go either way.
But it's still a primary, right? Like,
Yeah.
we normally vote blue, right? So if I'm a Democratic presidential nominee and I can get a ton of support in New York, you would think there would be more push to make people in New York want to vote for me.
Because you want to come out for the general.
Yeah, what the hell happened where all of a sudden a big-ass state like ours is like, nobody cares.
I guess maybe it's always been like this. Because I always thought like the primaries are usually less than like the big general election.
No, I get it. But
Like the hardcore voters come out for the primaries.
But why do states like Iowa that don't represent America even close to the way that, we represent
Right.
America make these big decisions for us?
I know.
I don't understand
They
it.
get to go first.
Right? I want to go first.
They go, was it New Hampshire?
Yep, New
And then
Hampshire.
South Carolina.
Like, okay, like South Carolina, you can make the argument maybe has the best, like, representation of what the country actually looks like. But, like, if you've ever been to New Hampshire, that's not what most of America looks
No.
like. If you've ever been to Iowa, that's not what most of America looks like.
Two of those three states you've never been to, and you're never going to go to.
I've been to all three, thank you.
I know, but that's
Go
because
Hawkeyes.
Because you were doing
Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark.
Are you talking about it doesn't represent like demographic wise?
Yeah, like, money up to the top, down to the
gotcha.
bottom,
Yeah.
age, race,
Yeah.
what people do for a living. And I'm not saying that Iowa's an unimportant state. We need food for farming, and those people matter, right?
But we have
Just,
farming
like,
here.
population
We have big
wise.
cities here. We have ethnic diversity.
Exactly. Like, if I'm someone who wants to see how I'm going to do amongst a whole swath of different people,
We'd be it.
I don't know. Why would you want to go to
Cross
Iowa to figure
section,
that out?
yeah.
Right? It's like going to like one person's house, polling them and being like, well, we know who's going to win the general election. And I mean, so yesterday doesn't really decide anything on a national scale in
No.
New York, right? And you guys know how seriously I take voting. We've talked about this in the past. But in this case, it feels like if you go out to vote, you're voting just to vote.
That's all you're doing.
Oh.
Because it doesn't count. And they're telling you that.
It does count.
Kind of. But they've already determined who's going to the conventions.
Yeah. So
and
like-
who have all the delegates. All you need is how many delegates you got, right?
Yeah.
If
So-
you already got those guys lined up, you're done.
So does that mean the people who went out and voted in the primary yesterday did it just for the sticker?
Well,
Yeah, but they changed the sticker.
I
What's
think
it say?
that
You wasted your time, sucker.
think that there are just people that just really feel like it's my responsibility. You know,
my wife is one of those people.
So she went and voted in the primary yesterday. All right, does that make us dicks then?
And I waited in the car. I was a good American.
You could have waited and voted. You were there.
I kept honking a horn. Hurry up!
So are we dicks for not voting?
Well, I'm sure we are. But
no, I feel bad.
It's not a big deal, Ro. It's not like the world's going to fall apart because you didn't vote for something that's already been determined.
No, I understand. But, I mean, you could also make the argument the world's not going to fall apart because your one vote didn't get cast.
I don't know about that.
Well, I'm just saying. Well, yeah, I mean.
I go general. General election, I'm all in.
I understand. The people that do vote, most people, it's the presidential election, whoever else is on that ballot when the presidential election happens.
That's the big one.
Might just be some people that like to participate in the process.
That's true.
Like, it's just something that they enjoy doing.
But
I feel like it counts.
My parents were like that.
Yeah.
But to Tommy's point yesterday, you're not really participating in any process.
Well, but it's an opportunity to vote, so I don't know.
I guess you honor the men that fought for your freedom to do it. You should do it.
That's where my thought is.
Yeah.
Right, again. But again, like if, the guy's about to storm Normandy, right? He's like, hey, guys, go out there and fight for a state who's going to vote for something that doesn't matter because it's already decided. What? All right, those kids down. Go. If you did it just for the sticker, I didn't see anyone put their I voted sticker on social media yesterday.
That's kind of why I forgot it was happening.
Yeah. But, you can just buy those stickers on Amazon, right? They sell them.
You can?
Yeah. Kimmy, you can look it up right now.
Can you?
You go look it up.
Why would you, though?
It would be a pretty funny way to mess with people.
Oh.
Like, you get a roll of those stickers and you just put them on random days to see how many people you can get to lie to you about they have already voted also. Because, people get really weird. They won't tell you who they voted for, but they will insist that they vote because it's your patriotic duty.
Yes.
So, how many people, if we did it, 2 weeks from now, put a sticker on a wall. Did you vote today? Yeah. I voted.
They're everywhere.
How much is a roll of I voted stickers?
You can get a roll for $10.
Bro, that's $10 well spent.
You get a giant roll for $20.
Yeah, it'd be funny. Give them to your daughters. Right?
Yeah.
And tell them, my daddy let me vote for him.
Well, they give them to kids, don't they?
They do give them to kids, yeah.
Yeah, my daddy let me pull the lever.
No, actually, my dad would let me pull the lever after he voted when I was a kid.
Did he really?
Yeah.
How cool.
Well, we had one of those old in Gates, those ka-chink, ka-chink.
Yeah, the old
I remember
schoolers.
that.
God, that was fun.
Wait, they give them to kids?
The stickers, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Well,
but that's kind of false because you didn't vote, kid.
You're upset that the 10-year-old gets a sticker?
Stolen voting valor.
It kind of is. You didn't vote yet, bro.
So you want the state to pay for different stickers that said I tagged along for someone voting?
How about future voter? That would be cute.
But that could be a lie, though. What if the kid never registers to vote?
We'll come back for the sticker then.
Tommy, $1,000 just for showing up.
Wow, it's not morning radio.
No, because it's $1,000.
Yeah.
People get very suspicious of stuff like this.
Oh, sure. He's just a scamola.
So suspicious, in fact, that when this advertisement showed up on a local television station's website, people actually contacted the station saying, hey, what the hell's going on?
Wait, so it's like a TV promotion?
No, it's not. I'll explain everything, but it turns out this $1,000 for showing up is actually legitimate, and it runs the gamut how much money you can make for showing up and not really having to do anything. In fact, they're going to do things to you.
No. Oh.
There's money to be made, but there are people that think there's massive risk involved here. But, Tommy, when it comes to the other side hustles that people are participating
Do I have
in,
to give them samples?
Actually, you might.
Ooh.
We'll get into it next here in the break room on 96.5 WCMF. $1,000 just for showing up.
$1,000.
Do we have your attention?
Hell yeah.
That advertisement got the attention of lots of folks in the greater Rochester area. And you hear that and you immediately think,
Scam.
scam.
Yeah.
Well, one news station here in town looked into it because it was an ad on their website.
Okay.
And there is money to be made.
Wow.
If you are willing to do this.
What do I got to give them?
You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5, WCMF right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can visit the contest page at WCMF.com. And for your chance to win tickets to see the Satch Vi U.S. Tour, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai.
Hell of a guitar show.
Guitar heroes, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming to the Kodak Center April 14th. 2 lucky winners will be randomly selected, and each will receive a 4-pack of tickets to the show. Tickets are on sale right now at Ticketmaster.com just after 9:30-ish here in the break room on CMF. It's Splash Week at the YMCA, bud.
It's what?
Splash Week.
What does that mean?
They want to teach people who don't know how to swim how to swim.
Oh, okay.
And when you find out how
Hey,
many...
a friend of mine went down there one day. His name's Bob.
I'm sorry, your phone broke up?
Yeah, Bob. That's what they call him when he got in the water.
You knew him personally?
No.
Robert?
His name's Bob.
When you find out how many American adults don't know how to swim,
Oh.
it's astonishing that this wasn't a pool
Really?
full of grown-ass people. And we'll get into it just after 9:30 here in the break room on CMF. So last night there was a story on 10NBC. And it turns out that 10NBC was running an ad on their website that was offering $1,000 for showing up and participating in a trial.
Okay.
And folks who saw this ad were skeptical. They reached out to 10NBC going, hey, what the hell is this?
But they don't say what the trial is in the ad.
Well, they were looking for specific people for
Okay.
this thing. Now, it turns out, after an investigation that 10NBC did into an ad that was on their own website,
Yeah.
this is 100% legitimate.
Who are they looking for?
It's a company called RCR, Rochester Clinical Research. And this was looking for specific races of people to run a clinical trial for a pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
Now,
So they want to give you this pharmaceutical based on your race?
Well, so different drugs and vaccines can affect different races and creeds of people in different ways.
Okay.
So that's why they do it. And we're talking things like vaccines, drugs for cholesterol, diabetes, weight loss, and more. Now, they do pay based on how many appointments you have to go to and the length of the trial and the involvement you would have to take part in. So essentially, you'd be getting paid for them to see what happens when you are given these things.
Yeah.
Is this sounding good to you guys so far?
He sounds legit.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's
I mean-
legit.
Yeah, there was a time in my life where I was looking for this kind of stuff to sign up for.
Okay, have you ever done anything like this before?
No, there was at one point, my old roommate and I were going to go do a sleep study, but by the time we went to sign up, it was already full.
She slept through it.
But yeah, but I remember like we were trying to get money to go on spring break, and we were looking for stuff like that everywhere we
Girls
could find
Without
it.
Pillows.
One of my favorite charities to donate to. Kimmy, do you have friends that did these clinical research trials?
I do. I don't know if any of them did like a pharmaceutical one, but it was like studies for, I don't know, certain things, certain behaviors, stuff like that.
Okay. Now, whether it's $100 or $1,000, everything in between, which, by the way, it can run the gamut with stuff like this. Tommy, it's money.
Oh, yeah. Good money.
And how many folks that can hear us now are doing side hustles for hours a week on top of their full-time jobs? I mean, something like this, if you qualify, would make it much easier for you to put a little extra cash in your pocket. And then there's also the community service factor to this as well. They need to know how these drugs are going to work in different genders, ages, races, like we talked about. In being a part of these trials, you're pushing forward research for drugs that can make living easier for some people. It could save the lives of some people. 252-WCMF, 252-9263. Are there folks who have participated in these clinical trials before, and would you do it if you fit the profile of what they were looking for?
Because I'd be afraid, though, reactions to whatever they're doing to me.
Well, you could also get the placebo probably, right? Like where nothing's happening to you.
Roll the dice, baby.
Yeah.
But let's say I go and I'm going to get $1,000. All of a sudden, oh, sorry, I think you're going to be itchy like that forever.
Now, look,
It's a risk you run.
there are people who are nervous about getting into stuff like
Sure.
this. The term human guinea pig gets
Well,
floated
you
out.
kind of are because they're looking to see what happens when we put this in you.
All right, so RCR says the risk is, and I quote, minimal. And whatever risks there are potentially, they clearly outline before they give you whatever you're going to take. So they say you're going to know walking into this what could potentially happen.
Okay, but if you already know that, why am I here? because that's what you're looking for.
Okay.
Because you're going to tell me we know what happens, kind of.
On top of that,
You take this pill, we're going to stand behind this brick wall and watch
why
it.
would you need a brick wall for a pill? Why would you're gonna convulse so much that you've
Yes.
broken the brick wall? By the way, on top of that, the story on 10 NBC says there are now strict guidelines nationally to ensure clinical trials are safe. Bottom line, they say gone are the days of the Tuskegee experiments, MK Ultra,
Dead monkeys.
yeah, things like that. But folks are still suspicious.
Well, I mean, it is it's a little shady.
Why is it shady?
Because you don't know.
Well, I mean, they say they're telling you.
And you're baiting me with $1,000.
Well, would you do it if they didn't offer you $1,000
No.
or $500 or $300 or whatever it is?
But it kind of makes them sound desperate, too.
Well, I mean, they understand they have to pay people for their
I
time.
get it. I get it.
Do you though? Because you keep saying no, it sounds shady.
I get it a little bit.
So you're out.
I'm out.
Is there an amount of money they're looking for a man between 40 and 70, ugly, unfunny, under 5'5", to test this drug on? And they're going to offer $3,000 cash.
Ooh, $3,000.
It's 1 month of your time. You have to go to 5 appointments.
Wait, only 5?
5 appointments, 1 month of your time, $3,000.
$3,000? Shoot me up.
Are you serious? So, wait,
Bro,
you just made it already.
I ain't got no
turn around.
$3,000. Now you talking big money.
Okay, so there is a point where even your
3G?
nervousness can get bought.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do you think that they're having a hard time filling these trials right now?
I wouldn't think, because everybody's
Yeah.
hurting for cash.
Oh, you're right. On one
I
hand,
think there are always people in spots in their life where
Yeah.
they see this as a great opportunity, right?
okay. On
I'm
one
guessing
hand,
there's people that look for this kind of stuff.
you're right. Like Kimmy was looking to raise money to go on spring break
Yes.
to Myrtle Beach. On one hand, you're right. Folks need money bad. But on the other hand, I don't know if you guys have been on Facebook lately. There are lots of memes shared by your uncle that have all kinds of things to say about vaccine and pharmaceutical companies, right? Like, I am curious when it comes to the desperate need for money versus a group of people mistrusting stuff like this, which one wins out?
But I also wonder if there's another group of people that would sign up, because I'm guessing some of these trials, like you would have to have whatever it is they're trying to
Look for
prevent, like whatever sickness or illness, you know what I mean? Because like I'm thinking, back when I had shingles, right? If they had said, "Hey, we think we might have this thing that helps shingle pain or whatever, get rid of it faster," like I would sign up immediately. Like, yeah, I'll take that chance. Like, I want this thing
pain,
gone. It
yeah.
hurts. Like, whatever the risk is, I'm willing to try it because it's just. It sucks right now.
That's a really good point. Yeah, the desperation of wanting to get back to what you were
like,
before.
and if you've had something and nothing's working, and I would think like you're signing up for this immediately.
And look, I mean, you bring up a good point. There have been court cases in this country a couple of times in the last couple of years of folks that wanted access to drugs that weren't approved yet.
Oh, yeah,
saying, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
Right? Like, there could be side effects, but I'm going to die or I'm in extreme pain. I'll take it. I'll take that risk.
If you're in pain, you're going to jump.
252 WCMF 252-9263. Story on 10 NBC, and it's actually funny. They're running an ad for this company offering folks $1,000 to do this clinical trial, and folks called 10 NBC going, "Is this thing legit?" Turns out it is. Company called Rochester Clinical Research. They run trials for pharmaceutical companies, vaccines, drugs for cholesterol, diabetes, weight loss, and more, and they will pay anywhere between like $100, $1,000, maybe more, based on the appointments you have to go to, length of the trial, of the involvement. But there are always folks who get nervous about stuff like this, despite the fact that they're willing to pay you. And you said the fact that they're willing to pay you makes you suspicious.
Sure.
And then I offered you $3,000, and you're like, sold.
Yeah. I have my limits.
You know, you would think if a trial can use young people, college kids, 20-something, that's the easiest one to fill. Right?
College is extremely poor.
Yeah. Well, even people in their mid-20s now.
But the problem is they probably don't just want 20-year-old healthy people. Yeah, they want a range.
But there's people my age, poor folk.
Yeah, no, I get it. But when you start to get into that middle, I mean, that's when people have opinions set in their head of what things are. That's when people's schedules get a lot more full, because if you're having a hard time getting money together, you may have hours you have to be at work, and I can't make these appointments. Therefore, I can't do this thing.
Yeah, but as I get older, I start having medical problems. I may be looking for some cures.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure. So there are also other ways you can make money with your body.
Well.
What?
Legally?
Well, yeah, you can sell plasma, blood plasma.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, question. Can you sell blood in the state of New York? Because the Red Cross asks for blood donations all the time.
Yeah, but it's always a donation, you're right.
Like, why would people give it away for free if they could make money? And I understand, like, yeah, you want to help the Red Cross.
Right.
Like, that's, yes, obviously do that. But, I mean, if you're going to pay me for my blood, I'm going to go to that guy.
Seems like you can really just donate it. It says you can donate plasma every 28 days.
Right, do they buy it anywhere?
Where could you Google who buys plasma? Rick behind the building.
Oh, Black Market Blood.
Black Market Blood sounds like the worst dad cover band played this weekend at the California Brew House. With Black Market Blood, thank you. Wow! You know they play Layla.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this is just in New York City, but it says you can be paid between $50 and $70 for donating blood plasma.
All right. So you
Okay.
got that going for you. You can also sell your batch.
Yeah, sperm bank.
Okay,
How
but
much do you get for that?
Could you Google that? I guess however much they're willing to offer.
Yeah, what's the minimum I have to give them to hit their quota?
I don't think it goes based on like milliliters.
I think it would, right? Because they need enough to make it work.
Kimmy made a noise.
Okay, so most banks ask for 1 to 2 donations a week. Therefore, you could make between $400 to $1,200 each month.
A month. Okay, that's still below the poverty line, but that's pretty good batch money.
Think of all that money you let slip between your hands.
White gold, baby.
Well, it also says sperm banks may pay more for
premium sperm
for certain
Top
donors.
Shelf.
Yeah, I don't know, like premium donors.
Handsome, healthy,
Yeah.
successful. Yeah, because like they have catalogs of people. Some of these sperm that doesn't have pictures and stuff, but it'll like list what they do for a living, how
Smart
tall they
guy
are. Exactly.
batch.
But the problem with selling your batch is your batch has to get accepted. Not all batches of high quality, both personally and batch.
Do they interview you? They must interview you.
I guess
I think they get like you're probably
filling out a form.
health
you think you
history.
just walk in, blast one off, take $50 and leave?
Just leave it at the counter.
Also, you can only donate every once in a while. We found out last time we talked about donating your batch that it can affect your sex life because if you donate on a regular basis, you have to refrain from having recreational sex so you have enough
Yeah,
boys.
you can't drain the vein.
Yeah, you got to have enough boys to put in the freezer. Not to mention, if you do donate batch, you could end up having a kid that you never meet.
True.
Or even scarier, a kid that finds you 30 years later.
Kids.
I thought they made so they can do that.
Yeah, man. I mean, yes, people are finding out these
I mean,
days.
it doesn't make you. That's kind of sucks for the guy that donates.
What do you mean?
Well, because he didn't like knock somebody up and run away. I mean, he just did this to donate sperm.
Yeah, nobody's arguing that it makes you a bad person.
I don't want to meet the person.
Why not?
Or the kid.
You wouldn't be curious?
You wouldn't want to see like what they look like or what they
Might be
see
coming
if like
around-
they have
may
any.
be coming around looking for money, and you had no intention of supporting a kid. You just
I don't think you're
donated some-
obligated.
No, but they also know if you are a successful person, as you put down in your resume, you might have some bank. These people could be trolling for money.
So
you
that
could be
wouldn't-
getting played.
That wouldn't be a problem for you then, would it?
No.
I would like to rescind my argument.
But you know what I'm saying.
No, but you just paint these scenarios in your head. Like, I mean, look, there are people that want to have kids.
Yes.
That can't have kids.
And this is a great service.
But not me. Not coming from me. You guys go do it, but here's all the reasons why you shouldn't do it.
Too rich for my sperm.
252 WCMF. We got messages coming in on Instagram. Ryan writes us, when COVID happened, CSL Plasma was offering $100 for the plasma of people who recently had COVID. I sold like 4 or 5 buckets of plasma after I got
Buckets?
COVID. Is that how they
Is that
measure
what
it?
they call-
By the bucket?
They go the KFC route.
We got an 8-piece plasma coming down.
Wonder how much he made.
Idiot math.
Idiot math.
No.
Is that a sentence?
I just gave you
That's what
the
we
information.
do here in the break room. Idiot math.
Walk through me with this. You ready? Walk through me.
How much you made?
CSL Plasma was offering $100 for the plasma of people who recently had COVID. I sold like 4 or 5 buckets of plasma.
But he says buckets. That's kind of.
I'm assuming he made $400 to $500.
Oh, all right.
I mean, that's free money.
Oh yeah. Well,
Right?
not free. You are giving up your blood.
Well, yeah,
What
but-
if you have a problem? All of a sudden, you need the blood.
If you have, no,
I'd like my blood back, please.
Oh my God!
It's a bucket 4.
What problem would you have where all of a sudden you need your blood back?
I don't know, but that can happen.
You make more blood, you idiot!
Yeah, but not quick enough.
What are you talking? What, you think that you donate blood and then you walk outside, your blood falls out?
Or you get hit by the car.
Yeah, I think blood's the least of your problems, getting hit by the car, man.
I need a transfusion.
But I love how the town has one car, Kibby. You get hit by the car. What were the odds? What kind of bad luck do I have that I was hit
It
by
could
the
happen,
Okay.
bro.
Can you sell parts of your body?
Oh,
Wait,
like
then
an
you're
organ,
still
like a kidney
alive?
or something?
Yeah. Okay,
What would
so-
you sell?
All right, let's talk. Can you just said it. You only need one kidney to live. And I know it's not something you walk into like a hospital and do. Like,
Yeah.
I want to sell my kidney. But can I like go on the dark web and find someone that'll give me money for my kidney?
I mean,
But how would you get it out of you and into them?
Well,
You'd
I
have to have
mean,
a
right.
dark
Dark doctor.
medical guy.
Dark Doctor, which is sounds like a new series on CBS this coming fall.
Man, the things that I've Googled today are going to be a red flag to somebody.
Can I sell my kidney?
How long does a dead body float for? How much can you get on the black market for an organ?
Yeah, that's not good.
Are we finding anything?
I mean, it just keeps saying no. Organs are illegal to sell.
No, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, there's
they're
only a
illegal.
couple of things you could probably pull out of your body where you could still live.
What do you think they are?
Well, I think you said because you got 2 kidney.
Kidneys one.
That's the only thing I can think of.
So your liver regenerates.
Well, you could sell a piece of your liver,
Well, okay,
and they
you-
can grow it.
You can't sell it. No,
Trust me, I've researched this.
they don't grow it like outside your body. It goes into another body.
But it could grow. You can grow a liver.
yeah, it'll fully reform to what it
Right.
was before. It regenerates.
But all right, so you could sell a chunk of your liver, but they got to go in and cut that out, man.
Yeah, I mean, it would be invasive surgery. You'd be taking a risk,
yeah,
and you
how-
wouldn't. And if there's a doctor willing to do black market surgery for your organ, I'm guessing that he doesn't have 5 stars on Yelp.
Right.
Yeah,
and
it
you
says-
have to be a young person because old people's livers are shot for not just the alcohol, but everything else you've been pumping through your fat ass.
I'm going to read you what Google says. The typical price paid to donors on the black market is thought to be about $5,000. Some donors receive as little as $1,000. In addition,
This is for a kidney?
it says organs.
I ain't doing
No,
that.
In
Wait,
addition, these
5G.
black market transplants are often dangerous to both the donor and
Yeah,
recipient.
you get an
Yes.
infection. What do I do?
Yeah, no, obviously don't sell your
Take some Advil.
organs on the black market. I am shocked.
That's low. I'm
No, that
out.
can't. A kidney can't be $5,000. Come on.
I was thinking like $500,000.
No,
It says the most prized or most valuable organ in the black market is a kidney.
Oh.
You think you're getting $500,000 for a kidney? I was thinking like 30, 40 grand.
Why, man? You cheap
Why,
ass.
man? Cheap. I'm not giving you $500,000 for a kidney.
If you
Especially
need it, you're gonna die.
Your old hairy ass Italian kidney.
You're looking at the wrong hole.
Do you know what a kidney does?
It's where your dump goes.
It's where your dump goes.
Because it doesn't go. Doesn't your dump go to your butt?
Are you thinking about the colon?
Doesn't
I'm
it
saying like your
filter
kidney.
blood
It
from-
passes all your food.
No.
That's your stomach.
Oh, that's the intestine. When something goes through your
Your grown
kidney,
man doesn't know what a kidney does.
what does
Yeah.
it do?
I don't know.
It removes waste products from
Oh,
the
I said dump.
No,
Listen to
listen.
I said
Let
dump.
me finish.
Dumpy waste.
No. Kidneys are
Dump be waste. Worst vice presidential candidate in the 1920s. Vice presidential candidate, Dump B. Waste, and Calvin Coolidge.
kidneys remove. Let's get past the word waste.
Okay.
Kidneys remove waste products from the blood and produce urine. That's why you get when you pass kidney stones,
Oh.
it comes through your urine.
Okay, so it's more connected to your bladder then.
All right. No.
But if it goes to make urine, it has to go to your bladder.
Kidneys also help control your blood pressure. Oh.
I would like to point out that 2 grown men who have microphones and talk for a living were not sure what the kidney did after having a 5-minute discussion on how much we think our kidneys would be worth if we sold them on the black market.
So my dumps don't touch my kidneys.
No.
In a healthy
yes,
body,
no,
no.
I don't know how to.
It goes around. So my intestines
Kidneys
go
just
around.
control the levels of substances in your blood.
So it's like a filter.
Yes.
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 It's like a blood
Exactly.
filter. All right.
Again, we started this discussion talking about RCR. It's a company that does clinical trials for pharmaceutical companies, vaccines, drugs for cholesterol, diabetes, weight loss. They were advertising on 10NBC's website, $1,000 looking for specific people. I believe it was black and Latino folks to test a drug because they would need to see how it reacted in those people's bodies. But you can make anywhere from $100 up to thousands of dollars, depending on what they're looking for and what they're testing. They say that the risk is low. You know the risk walking in. They're going to tell you. Tommy's still not convinced, but now he wants to know how much he can get for his kidney and his liver. All right, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because it is obviously illegal to sell a part of your body.
Yeah.
And do not do it on the black market. Would you have an issue if all of a sudden tomorrow they made it legal in America to sell any organ you wanted to?
No. I think you should be able to too anyway.
You don't think
it's
there's
your
an
body? It's nobody's business.
You don't think there's an ethical issue there?
No, that the ethics are on you. If you want to do, I think, you know me in this stuff like this.
Well,
I'm
you
for
know
open-
how I feel about organ sales.
I'm an open market guy. I say if you want,
Ultimate body capitalism.
yes, I say if you want to sell your body, that's up to you. If you want to take the risk and help somebody out, and you want to make money,
But in this case, you could also be putting the other person at risk.
But,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
these are adults that are all going to sign off on
true,
this.
that's
I'm
true.
fine with that.
But doesn't it create an ethical issue of only the people with money would be able to get organs?
Pretty sure that's how it works anyway, man.
That's not how it
It
works
seems to me like
now.
most of the rich people get to go into a nice hospital with an ice cream machine, and the poor folk are down in the basement hooked up, to the dumpster. Man!
Which it's the kidney of the hospital, by the way.
I understand.
Kimmy, would you have a problem if they legalized you being able to sell any one of your organs? At least ones that would keep you alive.
There has to be problems that we're not even thinking about.
Yeah, obviously, we're idiots. All right, let me ask you one more question. All right, let's say a violin virtuoso.
A violent?
Violin, the instrument.
Oh, violin.
Na-na-na-na-na.
Gotcha. I don't think that's how a violin sounds.
Na-na-na-na-na.
I was a high-end guy.
Yeah, he gets in a terrible accident. He was making a birdhouse, cuts his hand off.
Oh.
All right. The only way he can continue to bless the world with his beautiful music and make money is to get a hand transplant. And it turns out your crinkly ass old hands fit him perfectly. It would be a hand match. The body would not reject the hand.
All right.
How much would your hand cost?
Which hand am I giving them?
Which
am I whipping hand or am I just
right
my
hand?
pointing hand?
It's your right hand.
So it's my yanking hand.
Yeah.
How much?
What would you charge? Let's say he comes to you and he goes,
I'm old.
$100,000 for your hand.
All right. I've gotten a lot of good use out of this hand over the years. Just with your mom. $500,000.
You wouldn't take $100,000.
$500,000.
No, okay, we're negotiating.
I mean, that's his price.
Yeah, I got $100,000 to give. And look, if you're not going to give me your hand, I got 3 hands around the corner.
Bet you do.
$100,000 for your hand?
No, we're going half.
That's what he'd put that on a T-shirt. That'd be like how he'd sell hands off the lot. $100,000 for a hand. I'm a violin virtuoso. Got into the hand game. Kimmy, would you sell your hand for $100,000?
No, his penis would reject it.
Would it freak you out that a guy was touching himself with your hand?
That would gross me out.
Does
man.
that make you gay?
Well, you are getting closer.
Kimmy, is there a number?
No, I don't think so.
There's not a number.
I just think because it would change your life so
Especially
much.
for a woman to lose her hand.
It would change, like, everything you do would be difficult from that point on. I
Yeah.
mean, you'd have to relearn everything. No, I don't think I could put a price
So
on
you're
it.
telling me if he offered you $5 million for a hand, you wouldn't take it?
I don't think so.
I think
No.
women really would miss a hand.
I think everybody would miss a hand.
No, but like women in particular.
Well, women actually have more of their body parts. Well, parts of I guess it's not a body part. They can sell. For example, Monacy writes us on Instagram, women can get up to $6,000 in some places for, quote, donating their eggs.
Yes.
Oh.
But
it's a more complicated process.
Yeah. But that's a whole thing that's been in the
that's
Supreme Court.
yeah.
Right? Who knows what the hell happens with that? But I mean, yeah, like, Kimmy wouldn't have to sell her hand for $100,000. She could just go egg it out.
Okay.
Egging it out. Got a Kimmy omelet.
But I
coming
guess
at
that's
you.
only up until a certain age, though.
Yeah, that's a good
You know
point.
what I
yeah,
mean?
get
Like, you
all
only have so
shriveled.
much time you can do that.
You're old
Yeah.
now. You probably
You're
can't.
trading them raisins.
Why do you ruin everything?
What is the age where you can't donate that stuff anymore?
It's
Probably
different
40,
for
right?
everybody.
Why did you even guess? Why would
I
you
don't
even
know.
guess?
Well,
idiot?
you always say
No,
like after 40
no,
it's tough for
no,
a chick to have
after
a child.
34, it's
Wait, 34?
yes, 34
Oh.
is after 34. I believe you're considered a a geriatric pregnancy.
Do they say that to your face?
Like geriatric?
or something like that?
By the way,
right?
Mick Jagger's hottest wife.
Geriatric Bianca.
I'm
Jagger?
pretty sure 34 is the age.
No, wait, they say to
Wow.
your face geriatric
Oh yeah, they're
pregnancy?
pretty. It's
That's old
amazing
lady.
how old you feel when you go to the gynecologist after a certain age.
They can't come up with a softer name,
I don't know.
right? Like late.
Yeah, so technically the benchmark for geriatric pregnancy is age 35 or older.
It's the Silver Muff Club.
All right, let's take a break.
Yeah.
You think that most adults know how to do this because
Yeah.
you never see adults taking lessons for this.
Oh.
The YMCA is offering them this week, and based on the amount of adults that don't know how to do this,
This is scary, man.
it's very scary. You
Yeah.
should all be there right now. We'll tell you what it is next here at the break room on CMF. You never see grown-ass people taking lessons for this.
Yeah.
Which is going to be astonishing when you find out how many adults don't have this potentially life-saving skill.
So that means they never learned it?
Yeah, you got it.
Which is kind of weird because, like, every kid, I would always assume at some point got exposed to it.
The rich kid talking about pools in the ocean? Rich kid talk about that?
There's ponds and streams. But by the way, poor-ass country kid can do it.
You're hanging out in the break room. Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5 WCMF. This week at the YMCA, it is Splash Week.
Okay.
The YMCA is offering free lessons on how to swim. And when you think learning to swim, you think kids. And if you saw this story last night, you saw it was a pool full of kids learning to swim. But it turns out that Splash Week is open to everyone because there is a much bigger number of grown-ass people than you think that don't know how to swim.
Who are these people?
54% of American adults admit they cannot swim well enough to save themselves in an emergency.
They just to stay afloat.
Okay, I'm going to read
Like if you fell in the water.
I'm going to read you again. It's not what it says.
Well, yeah, because you could maybe it doesn't necessarily mean like you couldn't tread water, but could you swim to safety or get yourself, move around in the water?
Right.
Are either of you part of that 54% that can't swim well enough to save themselves in an emergency? When's the last time you swam?
We went. I want to say 5 years ago.
I'm not saying standing in the ocean.
No,
I'm
I was
saying,
in the lake.
Swam.
In a lake
You
5
were
years ago.
swimming.
Yeah. With that kid you couldn't stand. He had that place up in the lake you didn't like.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, true.
It's like 9 people you just named.
No, so I was in. I can swim. I grew up in Florida.
Okay,
man.
no, I know you can.
I grew up. I had to swim in school. Did you have swimming pools in your school?
Yeah.
I hated swimming in school.
It was the worst.
Big old bosom.
It was the worst.
But that's where I figure every kid learned to swim.
Not every school has a pool. For example, if you went to Catholic school, there was no pool. The Rochester Diocese eliminated pools after somebody drowned back in the 70s.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well.
There you go.
All right.
Kimmy, do you know how to swim?
I can swim. I thought I was like a decent swimmer until like I tried to swim in like any type of open water situation. I'm like, I'm going nowhere. I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm going nowhere, guys. It's like my career. I'm just stuck in one spot.
The one thing I cannot do though, and this is like where my swimming lessons stopped as a kid.
No, that's what her husband can't do.
Because like, you know how like I used to take swimming lessons at the Y as like a little kid because I think my parents, they just wanted, it was something they wanted us to learn. Mm-hmm. And you would like go up a group, but as like a chubby little kid, like I could never master diving.
Oh.
So I never got to move up to the next group. So I just plateaued at like guppy for a while.
But I also came from that generation where they threw you in the water.
Yeah.
Like if a kid didn't want to swim now, you would be, somebody saw you doing that to a kid now, you're getting arrested.
No, we lost a lot of good kids that way back in the 60s.
But that was
70s.
the joke. Like your old man would just chuck you in the pool, right?
Yeah.
He'll learn to swim. Hello?
But like watching the story yesterday, seeing a pool full of kids, which by the way, great that the kids are learning.
Oh yeah,
how to
they're having
swim,
a ball.
and cool that the YMCA is offering this for free. The fact that 54% of American adults admit they can't swim well enough to save themselves in an emergency. Why is there not adult swim classes, or at least more of them? I've never heard of an adult swim class. Have you?
Yeah, probably. But I think that
because somebody has to hold you under your belly while you're doing it.
And I think that's partly what it is, though. Like adults just think, well, if you didn't learn it as a kid, well, now it's embarrassing to learn as an adult.
It is.
Okay, but I mean,
it's kind of embarrassing.
It is a little bit embarrassing, maybe, but also
it's necessary.
Yeah, you could die, and like there's ways you're not considering where if you're near water, something could happen, and all of a sudden you got to swim.
Yeah,
or if you have to help somebody else potentially.
I mean,
I would always assume anybody that lived near water knew how to swim, and people that lived in more isolated areas didn't.
No, I hear what you're saying. Like I know this woman who lived on the ocean in Florida for half of her adult life, and she knew how to swim, right?
No.
Your mother lived on the beach.
So my mother had a fear of water,
Mm-hmm.
where she got in the water, she became paralyzed.
Okay, that woman lived on the beach, and she didn't know how to swim.
And she had a pool at her house.
I think you're also not
And
considering.
a boat.
She was on that boat,
Oh yeah.
and she didn't know how to swim.
No, how to swim.
And you just said what you said.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I think you're also considering you're not considering how you can live near water and never actually go in the water. For example, Rochester is on Lake Ontario.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's a.
How many times have you been in Lake Ontario?
Not since I was a kid.
Right.
But there's a significant portion of this population that didn't have a pool at their house, never went to the YMCA, never went down to the beach. You have water everywhere. Never went to the canal. You shouldn't go in the canal.
Yeah.
And they never went into that water. They never learned how to swim.
So I would say poor people.
I mean, yes. Actually, statistically, the less money you have, the more
access
likely
to like
you
pools
are.
and Taking a class.
Yes, it also skews based on race and ethnicity as well.
So who's the
Black
people?
folks traditionally don't know how to swim black folks versus white folks.
Mm.
It's something that I learned when my kids were born. My wife was insistent that my daughters learn how to swim. She signed them up as soon as she could.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why. And my wife's like, oh, this is why. And I'm like, okay, that makes
All right.
sense. Let's do this thing. But like even other, like there are certain cultures that have a harder
Aren't
time
good
swimming.
at swimming?
Yes.
Well, is swimming
Like what?
something that
Italians, not good swimmers. The hair just weighs you down.
Oh, I thought they can't keep their mouth shut. Keep filling up with water.
Is swimming something too that it kind of gets passed down?
Oh yeah.
From are you a good swimmer because like your parents were really into swimming? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you had
that
pool.
something
Yeah,
like,
I think you had a boat. You had something,
like,
but that
if-
takes money.
If swimming wasn't important to your parents or like learning how to swim, then you probably didn't learn either.
Here's the thing, though. I know how to swim. I don't remember my parents teaching me how to swim, and I've never seen my dad like swim. I've seen him stand in a pool
Yeah.
with no shirt on.
My
But-
parents did not teach me how to swim. It all came from like we had a pool, you got in it, and you just watch your brothers and sisters. And I told you when I went to camp, they had a high dive, and one of the things you had to do was go out the high dive. Now I don't know how high it was back then because I think I was about 8, but I remember climbing up that ladder. And not wanting to do this, and they made you do it.
Oof.
You could not come down, and I can remember like shaking, walking to the edge.
I would do that now.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, now I
nervous.
couldn't do it at all.
Yeah.
It was probably like the Pee Wee one, but they had the super high one, but they made us go off that middle one.
Why though?
Make a man out of here.
Okay.
Well, respect gravity. I don't know, but they
Fall
made
out
you.
of the sky to be a man.
But I still remember, like the teacher, the counselor, you couldn't come back. You had to go. And it was like, kids crying, sailing into the water.
Your parents paid for this
But
experience?
they loved it, I'm sure.
All right, so I guess the moral of the story, with 54% of American adults admitting they can't swim well enough to save themselves in an emergency, if you're one of these people, why wouldn't you take swimming lessons? I mean, it's a good skill to have. You can show off.
But I'm also thinking, if I'm like 45 and I've never had a problem, I'm not. What do I care?
Yeah, but
because
you
who's
don't-
got time to go take swimming lessons?
Yeah, I know.
As
You're
somebody
right.
that's working, because you probably had to take them for like a month. Like you got to go like once a week or something.
Probably.
It ain't a one and done.
You think 4 lessons could teach you how to swim as an
Well,
adult?
I mean, but it might get you enough where you can, move about in the water.
And you know what they're going to give you? One of those paddle boards to work with.
Sure.
And you're going to look like the old 80s, in those really fancy nursing homes doing water aerobics.
How do you know what they look like?
I had to do it. I took a water aerobics class. Oh, you had it? I do why. Shut up.
You know what the worst part is?
What?
Never made it above Guppy.
Almost got lost in
Same.
the pool.
We come back, wrap it up, tell you what we're doing tomorrow next to the break room on CMF. That's going to be a wrapperoo.
Ah, the old hump day wrapperoo.
For a Wednesday Break Room CMF that makes tomorrow Thursday. You know what that means?
Buddy,
Shut
know,
up.
buddy.
God, I hate you.
Thursday is, we're going to bitch it up, buddy.
Yep, Bitch Voice Theater coming at you and a whole bunch of more fun stuff, but I'm already getting the stink eye from Kimmy because we're running late.
Okay.
All right, so what we learned today, one, your kidney's only worth $5,000 on the black market.
So don't sell it.
Yep, we shouldn't do it anyway because you're probably getting an infection. That a body, police believe, was able to float in 1992 from Niagara Falls, over the falls, all the way up the Niagara River, down through Lake Ontario to the shores of Oswego.
And get a degree.
Yep. And just because a woman is stalking you doesn't mean that you were doing anything inappropriate with that woman.
You're fine. You're cool, buddy.
You can catch up on all that back at WCMF.com. We'll get me post a show, or as soon as we're done here, you can watch it all back on our YouTube channel.
Look at that.
That's right. You can watch the show live every single day on the Odyssey app, WCMF.com, YouTube, and Twitch. But as soon as your show is finished, you can watch it back, all of it.
Wow.
I know.
Technology.
On our YouTube page. The Break Room, WCMF. Check that out. Like, subscribe. We appreciate all that stuff. All right. We got to get out of the way for Kimmy.
Yeah.
Still a guppy. In
Still
her
a
30s.
guppy. Forever a guppy.
For Tommy Muley, who is the human manifestation of a guppy.
Guppies are adorable. They're guppies.
Are they?
Yes. They're like the puppies of the water. They're water puppies.
My name's Pat Duffy. We'll see you tomorrow morning at the Break Room, 6 a.m. on 96.5 WCMF.